Alrighty, boys and girls, it's a 737 patch. We got a patch on our hands, a pre-TI patch. This is what's going to determine who's going to win the Aegis. Yo, what's up, Rob? All right. An area of effect icon has been added to all tooltips that are affected by Bloodstone and other AoE increases. Wow. The Mines map aura. Mighty Mines health regen aura decreased from +7 to +5. The Well map aura. The Well Wishes mana regen aura decreased from 1.5 to 1.2. Cannot say that I have ever considered the Mighty Mines or Well Wishes or the other two in my thoughts about what I'm doing in the game. Can't say I've ever done that. But I guess maybe the Mighty Mines one will affect the Pudge jungling, though I maybe got a little sneak peek from my Discord that maybe jungling's back. Starting from his second death, Roshan now always drops Roshan's banner. Okay, starting from his third death, Roshan now drops Refresher Shard and Cheese during the daytime, or Aghanim's Blessing during the night. Okay, so they feel like Aghanim's Blessing is too strong. So it's either Aegis, Roshan's banner, then Aghanim's Blessing, or Aegis, Roshan's banner, Refresher Shard, and Cheese. Which I feel like the daytime Roshan is stronger. I feel like Refresher Shard and Cheese a lot of times is stronger. I mean, obviously it's depending on your actual lineup, but you know. Teleport time to Roshan's outpost decreased from 6 seconds to 4 seconds. Which increases the ability for the team that has the Roshan advantage. So Radiant side Roshan with the Radiant side outpost. That just makes them even stronger. Because now you buy back, you take some sort of team fight around the Roshan, you buy back, you TP in, it's 4 seconds instead of 6. I don't feel like the defending team needs... The team that already has the Roshan advantage didn't need more of an advantage. That's my view on it. We'll see if there's some other things change. Teleport classification. The following are now considered a teleport. TP scroll, bots, spots, twin gates, Chen to find favor, IO relocate, blah, 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 blah. Why does this matter? Maybe we'll find out. Breakability update. The breakability rules of facets, innates, and abilities have been updated. Oh, thank God. These were way too inconsistent. Some facets you could break, some facets you couldn't. Some passives you could break, some passives you couldn't. And while there was probably a general mechanic guideline, it did feel a little bit inconsistent. So, breakable, yes, has been added to all abilities and are partially or fully disabled by break. All abilities that are partially disabled by break have an alt tooltip line detailing break interactions. Ooh. So they actually give a whole bunch of information. So a whole bunch of shit is now gonna be broken. The following are now partially disabled by break. These will be the interesting one. Chaos Knight Phantasmagoria. Break disables the passive damage production aura, but not the fact that they're strong illusions. Ember Spirit Immolation. Immolation is not disabled for Fire Remnants when upgraded with Aghanim Shard. That's fair. Juggernaut Blade Form. Break disables the gaining of new stacks. Break does not disable the passive bonuses from the existing stacks, But if you're getting hit by that break, you're losing those stacks. Like, if you're getting hit, you're going to lose those stacks in a couple seconds anyway, so. Feast, including the ability to deny creeps at 75%, all right? Break disables the gaining of new stacks. Break does not disable the passive bonuses from existing stacks. Giga Mastery. Break disables the gaining of new attacks. Break does not disable the bonuses from existing stacks. Yeah. Uproar disables it's the same deal. Every single time it's going to be disabling the passive part, but it does not disable. Break disables the gaining of new stacks. Oh. Break disables the passive attack damage bonus. Break disables the gaining of new stacks. You still keep your stacks you already had. Galvanize. Break disables the gaining of new stacks from kills. Okay, that's kind of random, but all right. Just randomly, if you break the Storm Spirit and he goes on a rampage, he doesn't get any Galvanize stacks. All right. Tidehunter Kraken Shell. Break disables the gaining of new stacks. Same thing. Fervor. I would have thought it would have been the opposite. That break does not disable the gaining of new stacks, but break does disable the bonus from existing stacks, but whatever. Break disables the proc chance granted by Aghanim Shard. Break no longer disables the attack speed from existing stacks. So you can't get new stacks, but if you break the troll, you can keep the stacks that he already had, which makes sense. Gravekeeper's Cloak. Break disables the gaining of new stacks. Break does not disable the bonuses from the existing stacks. Yep. Bone Guard disables the gaining of new stacks. I don't even know what Bone Guard is. Lich's Death Charge is not disabled by break. Good. That hero is already in such a weird spot that being able to break him and not allow him to regain mana, the only way he can regain mana, or the one way he can regain mana, you know? Weird. Ability blocking and reflection. Abilities that are applied with attacks can no longer be blocked or reflected. The following abilities have had their behavior changed. Abilities that are applied with attacks can no longer be blocked or reflected. Okay. Yeah, it's like they're like not orbs, but they're kind of like orbs. Hammer of Purity, Walrus Punch, and the Fire Blast on attack. That makes sense. I don't know what this the Call of the Wild Hawk Dive Bomb. I guess that's the creep is attacking you and applying this attack thing. Abilities that can be unit or point targeted but do not track their target when unit targeted can no longer be blocked or reflected. So Earth Spike and Burrow Strike can no longer be blocked or reflected. Which is a big buff. I mean, it was always kind of weird that Burrow Strike especially got blocked by Lincolns. So, probably for the best, but abilities that track their target when unit can be track their target when unit targeted can be blocked or reflected. So you can now block Ion Shell. So you can now use Ion Shell to break Lincolns on an enemy hero. Am I getting that right? You can now cast Ion Shell on the enemy and break Lincolns? Okay, we'll see if that ever gets used. Abilities that can be unit targeted and displaces the caster are now blocked on ability cast instead of after displacement. Following abilities have had their behavior change. Abilities that can be unit targeted and displaces the caster, like are now blocked on ability cast instead of after displacement. So you'll no longer, when you life break on somebody, you'll no longer fly at them if they if they block it with LYCANs. Is that good or bad for these heroes? When Huskar life breaks somebody, he probably still wants to be able to jump to that person. Right? Doesn't Huskar still want to be going on that person? Or do you not take the damage? Marcy rebound. That one's definitely a nerf. That's the rebound when you have the shard, right, and use it on the enemy. That one's definitely a nerf. Mega Meepo Fling is probably a nerf. Sven's Stormhammer with Aghanim Scepter, that's probably a nerf. Tiny Toss, oh, this one's important. Definitely a nerf, 100%, 1000% a nerf. And Tusk Snowball, again, probably a nerf. So that is a nerf to all of these heroes, I think. Which makes sense. Like, most of the time, if you're using some sort of displacement ability to, like, get on top of somebody, whether or not the ability, like, does damage or stuns or whatever, chances are you probably still want to get on top of that enemy. Abilities that fire a projectile at a, like, obviously, there, you know, maybe there's some situations where that's not 100% true, but, like, I feel like for the most part, that's a nerf. Abilities that fire a projectile at a primary target and affect an area around them now only trigger spell block and reflection on the primary target. Abilities that fire a projectile at a primary target and affect an area. Okay, so Unstable Concoction only trigger spell block and reflection on the primary target. Did it not work that way before? I didn't even know it didn't work that way. Mrs. Nasal Goo. It is no longer blocked or reflected when casted automatically from Snot Rocket Facet. It no longer spreads when blocked. Interesting. I didn't know it spread when it was blocked. Well, that's a nerf to Noxious Plague. But who cares? We like the word Facet anyway. Abilities that fire individual tracking projectiles at targets to apply the same effect to all units now trigger spell block and reflection independently. The following have had their behavior change. Okay, so AoE Brain Sap. AoE Brain Sap can trigger multiple LYCANs and be blocked by everybody in that AoE. If everybody has a LYCANs, they will all trigger their LYCANs and block Brain Sap. Dazzle's Poison Touch. Okay. That one makes a lot of sense to me. That, like, if somebody gets targeted by Poison Touch and their Poison Touch is blocked, but like it hits me and like the spread of Poison Touch, this individual spell hits me, I feel like it should get blocked. So that makes sense. Finger of Death with Aghanim Scepter. Okay, similar situation to the Brain Sap. AoE Mind Flare. Ancient Seal, so the bouncing, the extra target Skywrath Mage bit. Soul Assumption, extra target. And Gleipnir Eternal Chains. It is now blockable, reflectable by all targets in the area of effect. Eternal Chains can be Lotused and Lincolns. Interesting. We gotta pull up Dota for this. So do they take a lot of damage? If I throw a Gleipnir and I hit 4 Lotus Orbs, is it reflecting back 4 Gleipnirs? And in which case taking all that same damage? We'll try that one out. Unit target abilities that bounce between multiple targets will only trigger spell block and reflection on the primary target. The ability continues, but subsequent targets do not trigger block/reflection. Following abilities have had their behavior changed. Okay.
Yes. As thou wilt it.
Prepare for battle.
Wait, I could probably just free spell this, huh?
Now. None shall hinder me. Or trees.
Well, he took 5 Gleipnir's worth of damage. 180 damage times 5. Yeah, I picked Animage, so we were going to try it the opposite way here. Oops. Wow, look at that. So it's still centered around the unit. So your Gleipnir can...
With speed. Yes.
So Lincoln's. So let's see if the... So I just tested the counter, right? You should not ever be able to counter, so that still remains intact. Valve did not fuck that up. But let's see if the Lincoln's gets blocked by the reflected spell.
Out of my way.
It does. But it does not re-reflect. Once a spell is affected by reflect, it cannot be reflected again. So they maintain that part. But Lincoln's can reflect the reflected spell, which always should be able to. I just wanted to make sure. Okay, interesting. Following abilities have had their behavior changed. So all of these, the initial hit is blocked by Lincoln's. The following ones are not. Which I feel like, I thought Acorn Shot worked that way anyway. But it says their abilities have, the behavior has changed, so.
Your middle tower
Obviously
is
I'm
under
wrong about
attack.
something. Mystic Snake, when casted by Cold-Blooded, no longer triggers block reflection. Nature's Prophet, Wrath of Nature, regardless if it was unit or point targeted. Okay. Spirit Lance, Fade Bolt. I mean, all of these are like bouncing abilities that, to be honest, I thought that's how they always worked. When casted by auto attacks with Aghanim Shard, it does not reflect. Trigger block reflection. If it's casted by auto attacks, doesn't it? Wouldn't it? Shouldn't it be under this this one? The abilities applied on attack. I guess they're talking about the bouncing part. Neutral item active effects can no longer be blocked or reflected. The following items have had their behavior changed. Neutral item active effects can no longer be blocked or reflected. Okay, sure. Book of Shadows used to be blocked or reflected, and Force Boots used to be blocked or reflected. Can't say I ever thought about Force Boots, but Book of Shadows... Interesting to know that it was not blocked, or it could be blocked or reflected. Now it can't. Okay, enough with the nerd shit. How about actual changes? Neutral creeps no longer always cast chain lightning if attacked by lane creeps. Yeah, this shit was really annoying. Intimidate is stronger. Base attack damage is stronger. So the death throws of the Hellbears is stronger. I feel like nobody really used death throw. I never really saw people use that aspect of it. So maybe it'll make these guys a little bit more viable. Granite Golem increased it by 1%. Holy. And the weakening aura from the other golems got increased by 1 armor. Okay. I'm not a Chen player. I don't typically use Helm of Dominate, Helm of the Overlord. So, whatever, man. As long as the Harpy isn't fucking zapping me when I'm pulling creeps, I'm okay with that. Good change. Good change. Made Roshan's banner a little bit stronger. Made it so Bracer only provides health. It provides health instead of damage. Bracer was probably 2 value. I do wonder if that means Wraithband will become more meta over Bracer. If you can't get damage, then maybe attack speed is the replacement to that. Because Wraithband is already kind of good in some lanes where you need the armor. So maybe this makes Wraithband more prevalent. Bloodstone. Spell lifesteal bonus decreased by 10%. Blood Pact spell lifesteal multiplier increased from 2.5 to 4x. Blood Pact duration decreased from 6 seconds to 5 seconds. So they took away 10%, but then made it 4x. So it's still 80% on active, but it's 1 second less. And you get 10% less spell lifesteal when it's non-activated. Okay. That's fair. Bloodstone probably needed a little bit of a nerf. So making it so it's still impactful as an active item, but making its passive effect less strong seems good to me. Bloodthorn. Soul Rend bonus damage on silenced targets from non-heroes. From non-hero attacks decreased from 50 to 25. That's a big nerf to both. Yeah, illusions are considered heroes. Okay. So that's a big nerf, not to Chaos Knight, but it is a big nerf to Broodmother. It's also nerfed to, you know, other random heroes like Winter Wyvern or some shit that that also do this. But for the most part, this is like a big nerf to Broodmother. Broodmother is the hero that uses Bloodthorn and this part of Bloodthorn the best. Other heroes, you don't get nearly as much. Veno? Yeah, I mean, Veno getting Bloodthorn is like... I feel like there are so many items you get before Bloodthorn. Listen, we don't have to do that thing where we just list every hero that has a creep that could possibly hit a Bloodthorn. Alright, it's a nerf to Broodmother. Crimson Guard. Guard cooldown increased by 5 seconds. Guard additional damage block based on caster's max health decrease from 2.5% to 2.2%. So the numbers that I was seeing out of Crimson Guard active were really high. So nerfing the cooldown is a nice idea, and then actually nerfing the number is probably needed. I like the idea of nerfing the cooldown as well. Spell Lifesteal rescaled, so you get scaling Spell Lifesteal as you upgrade Dagon. Whatever, 1% per level, sure. It's only really going to affect Nyx Assassin, as Nyx Assassin is the hero for Dagon right now. Eternal Shroud, magic resistance per stack decreased, so they decreased it again. They nerfed Eternal Shroud before. I don't know if they nerfed the magic resistance per stack or the base magic resistance or what it was, but they're nerfing Eternal Shroud again. It's a nerf to CK as well. Illusions are considered heroes. Illusions are considered heroes. Illusions are considered heroes. Illusions are considered heroes. Ethereal Blade. Ether Blast projectile speed increased from 1275 to 1400. Sure. Men cooldown increase, so they're nerfing some. This is the beginning. This is the beginning of nerfing some of the auras. They're gonna nerf the cooldown on it. 5 seconds on Crimson Guard, 5 seconds on Greaves. They're also nerfing the tank items, because if you nerf the aura items, the tank items are gonna be next up on the list. Right? Based off of what we've seen from this patch, the tank items were dominating, then the aura items were dominating. So as soon as the aura items get nerfed, then the tank items are going to come back. So they nerfed the tank item a little bit. Heaven's Halberd is not a particularly used item right now. I see it fairly rarely. Usually against Wind Ranger or something. Slow resistance bonus increased from 20% to 25%. Disarm mana cost decreased from 100 to 75. Okay, like small little things that you probably not the reason you're buying Heaven's Halberd, but you know. Fair enough. Echo Shell duration decreased from 6 seconds to 5 seconds. Yeah, Lotus Orb feels like it lasts forever. So I'm okay with this. Mirror Image Illusion duration decreased from 20 seconds to 18 seconds. Manto's very meta item. So nerfing the split pushing of the item. I think whenever you nerf duration of illusions, it usually means you're nerfing split push. You're nerfing split push and lane shove, right? The illusion doesn't last as long, so you can't throw it down lane for as long. Doesn't farm the full creep wave like it would have or whatever. Health bonus increase from Pavis. So they buffed one of the aura items. This one is definitely the most minor of all the aura items, but they buffed that one. They nerf barrier duration on pipe by 2 seconds, and they nerf the magic resistance aura by 2%. How often is the 10 seconds versus 12 seconds actually a factor in team fights? I would say very rarely. And it definitely comes up, but like I feel like more often than not, this is not going to have an impact on whether or not you win the fight. This might 2%. Solar Crest recipe cost decrease 600 to 500. Total cost decrease. Okay, so they made Solar Crest cheaper. Pavis is better. Solar Crest is cheaper. Shadow Amulet. Fate no longer requires the target to remain still. Fade no longer refreshes its cooldown if cast on self. Fade now slows the target by 35% while invisible. Fade can now be dispelled. Fade cooldown decreased from 7 seconds to 18 seconds. Fade duration increased from 15 seconds to 3.5 seconds. So, Shadow Amulet is a griefer item. Or an extremely situational item. One of those situations being Warlock, right? You cast Shadow Amulet on yourself, and you channel Upheaval. But now, it's an item you can actually use just a little bit. So it's actually kind of an interesting item. Not that 3.5 seconds is like terribly a lot, but we've seen plenty of times where like Glimmer Cape, losing sight of somebody and maybe disjointing some spell or something. So making Shadow Amulet an item that can actually be used, even if I don't feel like we're likely to see it get used that often. Giving it some sort of value as an item that you pick up as opposed to just building it when you're trying to build Glimmer Cape. Fuck me. Our stream died. Our stream died. No. Okay, we're back. Short drop. Easy peasy. So yeah, Shadow Amulet is something that you can actually, buy and use outside of Warlock and Griefing. Cool. Spirit Vessel recipe changed. Now requires Urn of Shadows, Vitality Booster, and a 900 gold recipe. No longer provides 6 to all attributes. Now provides plus 375 health. Soul Release cooldown increased from 7 seconds to 10 seconds. Yeah, I feel like there was too many times where you could chain use Vessel. So that's fair. Soul Relief damage per second decreased by 10. Wow. That's a big nerf. It reduced it by 10 damage per second. So they reduced it by 80 damage. Now, to offset that, it looks like they buff the health gain reduction increase, so it's more effective. It's more effective against the these regen hero shit, but losing 80 damage is pretty oof. Recipe changed on Urn of Shadows as well. Now requires Sage's Mask, Ring of Protection, Fluffy Hat, and 280 gold recipe. So they're bringing back the old. Vessel and Urn, right? This is old Urn. This is old Vessel. Build up components wise. No longer provides 2 to all attributes. Now provides 125 health. I feel like this makes better for supports. HP items are typically better for supports. Attribute items are typically better for cores. So it seems like they're making it, especially with taking away the damage, it seems like they're making it a little less viable for cores to use. And a little bit more of a utility item, which is fair enough. Neutral item changes. Dig cooldown no longer ticks down if the shovel is not in the neutral slot. Yeah. There was too much value. Shovel was probably the best tier 1 neutral item in the game. Always digs up a water rune when used in the river. So a bottle hero could take Trusty Shovel and always guarantee a water rune to refill their bottle. That seems unnecessary. Trusty Shovel is already good. It's already, in my opinion, the best tier 1 neutral item. Whatever. We'll see. Giving away more water runes than there are already water runes in the game seems unnecessary, but like, you know, you don't get it till 7 minutes. Whatever. Bye-bye fairies trinkets. That's good. Don't think I like that item. Returning is the Ironwood Tree. Provides +5 to all attributes. Plants a happy little tree that lasts for 20 seconds. I wonder if it still has the same range. I wonder if we're still going to see like Timbersaw try and use Ironwood Tree to Timber Chain too. Because didn't it have like a 400 range or something like that? Anyway. Monkey King and Timbersaw and Tree Protector players rejoice, I guess. Hooray! The tree's back. Pigpole. Decrease the attribute bonus. Buff the movement speed. Okay. Iron Talon returns as a tier 2 neutral item. Provides 20 attack speed, 4 armor, active chop. Targets a non-player unit to remove 80% of its current HP. If cast on tree, instantly destroys it. Cooldown 20 seconds. So... how do we feel about this? Yes, Iron Talon is back, but it's back at 17 minutes. Remember, this is not... you don't just get this whenever you want. You can't guarantee have it. It comes back at 17 minutes. And that's if you're lucky. If you farm a camp right at 17 minutes, and if you're lucky that it ends up in your list. Having a neutral item that allows you to cut trees, I'm always a fan of because I hate Nature's Prophet. Fuck that hero. So, you know, like that part I like. 80% of its current HP is a lot for when you're trying to farm a like a Hellbear. So my gut says at 17 minutes, maybe at like 25 minutes, that 80% isn't as good, as you are obviously scaling up as a carry and hitting neutral creeps. You get faster and faster at it. Their HP doesn't matter nearly as much, but at 17 minutes, that sounds pretty good. That sounds like it will speed up your timings a decent amount. Doesn't say anything about Ancients. We're gonna assume that Valve did not allow it to work on Ancients. We're gonna assume that. Because if they did that, that'd be crazy. That'd be crazy if they did that. Somebody tested for me. I'm moving forward. What the fuck? Philosopher's Stone now has 750 charges and depletes a charge every time it grants gold to the owner. When all charges are depleted, the item is destroyed and the owner receives an additional 375 gold. So between the Trusty Shovel no longer working in the neutral slot and the Philosopher's Stone now having a limited amount of gold that it gives you, they're saying these items were too valuable. You guys were abusing them too much. Fair enough. It does work on Ancients. Okay, that is questionable, Valve. That's questionable. 80% of an Ancient Granite Golem is very, very valuable. Don't know about that. I'm a disagree with that one, Valve. I'm going to disagree with that one. Okay, well, Iron Talon seems very good. If you are a hero that does not farm Ancients very well at 17 minutes. Most carries are going to be able to farm them at 25 minutes, no problem. But if you're one of those heroes that like doesn't farm them the best, Iron Talon is definitely going to help you a lot. Ancients are the most effective way to be able to get gold and experience, particularly if the Ancients are still on the same parts of the map next to each other. It's just mega value. So them working on Iron Talon, allowing you to be able to clear those Ancients faster, gonna be value. Gonna be value. Philosopher's Stone, it's still worth it in my head. If I can get myself 1,000 gold plus from Philly Stone, I'm definitely taking it. Because that is halfway to a 4-staff. Right? At 4-staff, Glimmer Capes, these are like 2,000-ish gold items that can save your carry and save you their 20,000 net worth that they have. You 10x your investment if you use a 4-staff to save a 20,000 net worth hero, you know? People's Gift attribute bonus for universal heroes increased +7 +8. Okay. Vambrace is now a tier 3 neutral item. It gives 10 to the main attribute, 4 to the others. It gives 10% magic resistance on strength, 15 attack speed, and 8% spell amp on intelligence. These numbers don't feel like they're tier 3. Like the buff from tier 2, from it being a tier 2 to tier 3 neutral item, that doesn't seem right to me. But I will say that this part, the spell amp, and this part, the magic resistance, are pretty value. So maybe it's more so about these bonuses that will make them good, but seems like for a tier 3 neutral item, I'm thinking about some of the other options, and I'm not too sure if I would actually take Vambrace. Though one of those tier 3 neutral items that's super value is this one, Ogre Seal Totem. That item was way too good to be a tier 3 neutral item. Smart move that they buffed it up to tier 4. They buffed up the strength bonus by 2. They decreased the cooldown on the active. They increased the damage on the active. I think the damage should go up too, because I think it's funny to use the active to actively flop on somebody, because nobody actually does that. Everybody uses it to escape. So I would like to incentivize flopping on people. I think that's funny. Ogre Seal flop can now change direction while flopping with a reduced turn rate. I'm gonna need to see that one, Chief. I'm gonna need to see that one, boy. Like, how dramatically can you turn?
Courage. Breathe.
Oh yeah, it's a moderate amount.
Are you sure about this? What if they get me?
So I went from guarantee going here to here.
Yeah.
Seems like it definitely changes more if you start turning while you're doing that little bit of charge up.
Yeah. Do I have to?
Okay. Cool. And Martyr's Plate cycled out. Okay. Martyr's Plate, honestly, I just didn't really feel the effect of it a lot of times, even if, like, theoretically it was good. Time for the good shit. Heroes. Abaddon. New innate ability. Withering Mist. Damaging enemies applies the Withering Mist debuff for 5 seconds. Affected enemies have their HP regeneration, healing, lifesteal, and spell lifesteal reduced by 35% if they are below 40% HP. What was Font of Avernus? What was his previous passive? I don't remember. They just said they removed an ability, but 10% respawn reduction. Oh. Yeah, that's boring. I think giving heroes, I like this. The biggest reason I like this is that it makes it so Abaddon, maybe I'm not picking it for this exactly, but giving more heroes the options to combat HP regen, healing, etc. outside of, just like Ancient Apparition, I like there to be more hero counters to those sort of things. Because right now it feels like most of it is item focused. I think it's cooler when heroes counter other heroes. So I think this is a neat idea. Adding these sort of things I think is always kind of cool. Because it's just, we'll see if like this ever actually, is effective. 35% is like a pretty decent amount, but they have to be below 40% HP first. So, the first thing at the top of my head is like Abaddon's good versus he's a lot better against Huskar. Like, okay, that's cool. Maybe Abaddon is a counter to Huskar, right? Maybe they do a mid Huskar, you safe lane Abaddon. You do some K1 Hector carry Abaddon. It's only damaging, so Radiance can just apply it to everyone. Damaging enemies. Oh. Abba.
From the house of Ernest, I set forth radiance.
Done.
Prepare for battle.
All right, there it goes. Okay, so this is actually way more value than I thought. This is way more value than I thought. I thought this was going to be like just, oh, maybe there's some sort of matchup, against Huskar or something. This is actually way more value and very good for core Abaddon, who builds Radiance, right? He just builds Radiance. He gets in the middle of a team fight. Now, if you're below 40%, then your heal is getting absolutely nerfed. So this is a really big buff for a small patch. This is a pretty decently sized buff to carry Abaddon. And then they nerfed his borrowed time. They increased the cooldown by 10 seconds each level. Test with Cloak of Flames? I mean, sure, but can't we just assume that if it works for this, then surely it works for 80 damage you're applying. If it works for Radiance, then I'm going to assume it works for just any damage that you do, flat out. Level 20 talent, aphotic shield barrier amount decreased from 100 to 80. Okay. Don't know why they nerfed Abaddon. Maybe it was because they gave him this, but good. I mean, overall, definitely a buff. I feel like this is cool. This was garbage. Base HP regen increased by 0.25. Persecutor, new innate ability, passive, scales with mana void. Attacks slow enemies based on how much mana they are missing. Okay, so instead of no longer doing it through the mana break, they're burned out sort of thing, now they're slowed more the more mana they're missing. Instead of just putting a slow on them when they were all burned out of mana. Do 20% minimum slow at 50% mana, up to 40% maximum slow at 0% mana. Mana break is no longer an innate ability. Mana burn per hit rescaled. Presuming this is just back to kind of normal-ish. Max mana burn per hit rescaled. Okay, I mean, they're just taking away the level 0 part of Mana Break. Aghanim Scepter upgrade reworked. Reduces cooldown by 1 second. After casting Blink, your Mana Break within 5 seconds is empowered. Your next Mana Break within 5 seconds is empowered, burning an additional 20% max mana and preventing the target from regenerating or gaining mana for 6 seconds. This debuff is undispellable. That sounds extremely good against DUSA, right? Because DUSA, the snake, let's say you hit her with that. She throws out the snake, or the snake's coming back to her. She doesn't get any of that mana. Extremely good against DUSA. Now, there are some other heroes that it's still going to be good against, right? Like, okay, Storm Spirit has a bunch of mana regen, but like, DUSA and OD, yeah, I guess OD, those are like the chunk, a big chunk of mana is coming their way, right? And that can be countered by Aghanim Scepter. Don't know if that actually is good. But again, makes the hero stronger, again, in very specific matchups, so. Could be interesting. Don't think you're going Ags in the first 2 or 3 items on AM, but especially as a free Aghanim Scepter from Nighttime Roshan could be value. Level 15%, 40% slow on fully mana drained targets. Replaced with 10% Persecutor max movement speed slow. So it can go up to 50% movement speed slow when they have 0 mana. And 30% movement speed slow at 50% mana. That is very annoying. Then they took away the blink cooldown because they put it into the Ags and replaced it with 0.7 mana void stun. Alright. Arc Warden, a buffed Flux. Or I see. So they made it so the Flux does a greater movement speed slow for Order. And on Spark Wraith. And nerfed Disorder.
Your middle tower is under attack.
Huh. Well, I'm not an Arc Warden player, so didn't know that Disorder was in needing of a nerf and Order needed a buff. Whatever. 25 magnetic field affects creeps and buildings replaced with flux silences when target is alone. Well, that's annoying, but Arc Warden's already his whole like kind of split push deal has kind of been nerfed to the ground, so Beastmaster. Bonus attack speed per unit rescaled, so it's a little bit stronger at level. Wait, no. Okay, so they changed. They just took away the level 1 because he has a new passive. Wish they would put the passive first. New innate ability. Passive cannot be leveled up. Beastmaster's melee hero damage block chance is increased from 50% to 100% versus non-hero units. Okay. So he's better at jungling. He just gets the permanent damage block against creeps, and where this really applies is when he's hitting neutral creeps. Particularly since he likes farming ancients so much, he is a lot tankier when he's farming ancients, though a lot of times he's just spamming wild axes and not getting hit by those ancients, but whatever. Speaking of spamming wild axes, those axes now have a scaling mana cost. Goes up to 65. 15 more mana per axe definitely hurts the hero, particularly when he wants to farm those ancients. This, like, that timing exactly is when this is going to be very impactful. Maybe he can't get off one more round of axes because of this. No longer an innate ability. Yeah, whatever. They nerfed Drums of Slum, hopefully. Shortest drum interval increased from 0.4 to 0.5. Damage per strike decreased by 5 damage. No longer increases stacks when attacking buildings. That's good. I think hitting buildings probably shouldn't just give you free drum hits and make it so the enemy team fighting into you is fighting into a Beastmaster who's fully drummed up. All in all, though, 0.1 second and 5 less damage. That doesn't change. Maybe this 15 mana nerf might be more impactful than this, to be honest, because this 15 mana nerf might slow down your timing of getting an Aghanim Scepter and doing Roshan, but not quite the nerf. Not as big of a nerf as I expected. Sanguivore now provides full heal values when denying. Cool. Buff to the talents. Cool. Bounty Hunter. Base intelligence decreased from 22 to 20. Hopefully they nerfed mana cost or something. Streak extra gold increased from 10% to 20%. Please hold. What's your fucking passive again? When getting a kill or assist on an enemy that has a killing streak, Bounty Hunter receives 20% extra gold. Okay, so... yeah, I mean, that doesn't sound amazing, so making that a bigger number, sure. Aghanim Scepter cast range decreased from 700 to 600, and they nerfed the Shuriken. So, Beastmaster on Dota 2 Pro Tracker with this talent through and through has consistently had like a 53% win rate, and for the life of me, I don't think it's actually, like, the win rate is like fine, but it's consistently positive. And I've tried it and it doesn't feel that amazing to me, but apparently Valve felt like it needed a nerf. So Belligerent. New innate ability. Passive can't be leveled up. Whenever Brewmaster respawns or comes out of Primal Split, he gains 20% attack damage bonus. Duration when respawning, 30 seconds. Duration when coming out of Primal Split, 15 seconds. That kind of seems whatever. 20% attack damage bonus is a lot. But a lot of times you're playing Brewmaster around his ultimate. By the time his ultimate is done, most of the time the team fight's decided one way or the other. Maybe him coming back with it in the laning phase. He dies and he comes back then for 25 seconds after, he completes his TP and gets into lane. For 20 seconds, you're going to have a 20% attack damage buff. That seems more impactful almost in some ways. They do need to nerf this hero though. Cooldown increased on Thunderclap. Clap. Most of the time you've been doing roll out the barrel or the passive, so nerfing the level 1 value of Thunderclap will hurt the hero. And nerfing the radius as well. Not always a big fan of nerfing radiuses on abilities, because you get used to a certain AoE. Not necessarily a fan of this, but whatever. Drunken Brawler is no longer an innate ability, so it means they no longer have a level 1 to all of this. Or a level 0, rather. Bristleback. Base damage increased by 6. Wow. New innate ability. Passive can't be leveled up. Hero has 10% damage and debuff duration amplification against heroes that are behind him. Okay. New facet. Oh, it's a whole new facet. Can be activated to grant Bristleback 50% bonus attack damage and 50% bonus movement speed per stack, but limits his vision to a 90-degree cone in front of him. No fucking way. What? Excuse me? What the fuck?
Not yet.
Quills? One step at a time.
It's a cool effect.
Indeed. Here
So
we
that's
go.
his vision, though. But what if you have an ally?
Yes.
Am I still getting shared vision? Oh my god, it turns off your shared vision? Can I see the tower? Holy fuck, it turns off your shared vision. What if I ward?
Yes.
It turns off your ward vision, too. Which is shared vision, because it's not... But, like, you know, it's your ward, so I thought maybe there was a chance. No.
I'll sort this.
The screen does say sort of red. Yeah. Here's a patch. Maybe they fix that.
Mashing.
That's funny. I mean, bonus damage, bonus movement
By all
speed.
means. Sanjan Yasha. Bit of work to do. Monster kill. Triple kill. Stuck you good. Boy, one step at a time.
I mean, a few stacks and you activate it.
By all means.
You get close to max movement speed.
Yes.
It seems strong to me. But turning off your allied vision is
Your
definitely...
middle tower is under attack.
That's definitely quite impactful. It's a cooldown of 45 seconds. But like, yeah, if you're just trying to beat the shit out of somebody, I'm glad they gave Bristleback a right-click talent again, because that other attack speed one or whatever, that ain't it, Chief. That one ain't it. Bristleback one's damage, not attack speed, man. This might become the new carry Bristleback facet. I mean, I've seen some people try out this Snot Rocket one.
Are you ladies up? Scrap. You won't be getting up too soon. Bit of work to do. Yes. Here we go. Triple kill. Sanjan Yasha. One step at a time. That way.
I mean, it's pretty decent damage buff. takes the damage buff that you're getting out of Warpath and gives you some more value out of it. So let's see what level 18 looks like, right?
Your middle
Oh,
tower
there's
is
the
under
25
attack.
talent too. Okay, so let's see what it looks like here.
Spices need mashing. Indeed.
So 8 stacks. I'm getting 300 bonus damage. Nine stacks. Oh, this also counts as another spell, by the way. Didn't think about that, but that's also just one more spell that you're casting. Anytime you can cast more spells as Bristleback, that's always value. So that is good for him.
These spices need mashing.
Fuck you. Okay, now let's see what it looks like when you take the Warpath.
Yeah, this is proper
25
something
talent.
outside.
So let's say,
Bit of work
I think
to
8 or 9 is like a reasonable number. So we get 387 damage, 645 damage. Holy fuck. Jesus. That's some damage right there, boy. God damn. God damn. Yeah, I mean, that's... Yeah. That might bring Carrie Bristleback back. That might do it. That just might do it. Gives a bonus to movement speed and attack damage, guys. Movement speed and attack damage. Oh. So that's not just the facet. That is no longer an, oh, sorry. No longer an innate ability. Sorry. Anyway, so this being an extra spell is, that's pretty nice. Pretty nice for the hero. Next. Necrotic webs. Debuff now only applies to broodmothers in the same network of webs as the target. So now you can no longer put a web at the start of the game on the other lanes. Good. That is a dumb mechanic. Like how it says network. So like the webs linking together is a network. Simultaneous webs, -1. Web recharge, restore time decreased by 2 seconds. Incapacitating bite bonus increased from 10 to 12. Didn't really ever see anybody take this talent, so trying to buff up the other side of Broodmother, I guess. Rationality. Instead of a 33% chance to do nothing, now has a 33% chance to silence. What? What? I mean, I get that to get like Chaos Knight, nobody's going that fucking talent. Facet. It's just, I can't believe they're leaving this in here. So it either breaks, disarms, or silences, and you're just rolling the dice. Dude, Valve, this is an example of bad RNG. It's the same as when you did this with Pango. It's not good. Please stop doing this. Bad RNG is just not fun. Bad RNG is when you roll the dice, and no matter the outcome, somebody feels terrible about it. It was the same as the Pango thing, right? When Pango had this disarm or silence thing, you get the silence when you wanted to disarm, or you get the disarm when you wanted the silence, you feel bad as the Pango. But if you get the silence when you wanted the silence, they feel bad when they get silenced. And you know, it just feels bad. It just feels bad. it's not like feel good RNG and feel bad RNG, two different concepts. This is feel bad RNG because when you get the silence, particularly since it's 33%, like this is somehow is actually even worse than the Pango one. But it's like when you get the silence, it's not like woo, I did it. It's just like, yeah, that's what I wanted to have happen. That's what should have happened. You know, I'm trying to play for that. But like the other person's like, that was bullshit. That guy had a 1 in 3 chance of getting a fucking silence and he got it. Ugh, gross. Also, no nerfs to Chaos Knight. Weird, champ. Weird. Why did they not nerf Chaos Knight? Chaos Knight, very good hero right now, guys. Cogs push duration decreased from 0.8 seconds to 0.6 seconds. So they made it so expanded armature isn't as good as bouncing you around. That's probably fair. Armor power. Damage increase per armor decreased by 0.3 decreased 0.3% to 0.25%. Sure, whatever. I don't even know what that is. What's his fucking passive? He gets damage for armor? Outgoing damage increases by 0.25% per point of armor. Okay. Didn't even know that was a thing. Crystal Maiden. Blue Heart Flow. Nobody takes this one. Now increases mana regen amplification by from 50% to 75%. I've always thought, like, you know, like, if you're going to take this, it's when you have Storm Spirit or some shit. Nobody ever takes it, despite having Storm Spirit. So, must have been garbage. Probably needed a buff. Sorry, just had to double check there was no Chaos Knight nerfs. Just had to triple check that one just to make sure. There was indeed no Chaos Knight nerfs. Base strength decreased by 2 for Darkseer. He's one of the 4 offlaners of the patch that are S tier. It is Doom, Brewmaster, Darkseer, and Beastmaster. Can't forget triple S tier Beastmaster. Intelligence now cannot be lower than the average of strength and agility. Okay. Level 15 talent AoE decreased from 100 to 75. Yeah, it's like attempting to tell you that you can't just buy strength items.
The seer is here.
So my my strength and my agility are at 51.
Damatrix guides me. Of course.
Man, it's so funny. It's so funny watching your intelligence shoot up as your strength goes up by just picking up by strength items. My intelligence has gone up to 51 just by picking up these strength items. Minimum intelligence 50.5. So wait, what was this before? What was mental fortitude before? Dude, this whole switch over to Liquipedia stuff happened at a really bad time. Darkseer's intelligence value cannot be lower than either his current strength or current agility. Now it's an average of the both. So now front-loading strength is less valuable than... I see.
Very good.
Next. Dazzle. Awful boom. Barrier duration increased 2 seconds. Nobody took that one, so they had to buff it. Poison bloom, people took, and they also buffed that. They buffed it by 5 damage, level 1, 20 damage, level 4. I mean, Dazzle is a viable mid. It's just like... You need to have the matchup for it. And that's why you would pick it. So they just made, now when Dazzle gets a matchup that he shits on it even harder with Poison Bloom. Death Prophet now also gains Spirit Cluster, now also gains Spirit from Death Prophet's own death, and while she is dead. Okay. And a whole new facet. Morning Ritual. Passive effect. Death Prophet delays 20, 30, 40, 50% of incoming damage, taking the damage in 1 second intervals over 5 seconds. Scales with Exorcism. That sounds very good. Scales with Exorcism. So it starts off 20%. For a hero that has very clear damage over time, particularly heal over time, being able to delay damage, the counter to Death Prophet is bursting the hero, right? That's typically the counter to the hero. So this sounds like a very good facet to me. I would definitely try this out. This sounds very good. You can block the delayed damage with Yules. Really? Well, then that sounds mega broken.
Recall me from the grave.
Your middle tower is under attack. Your middle tower is under attack.
Of course, my dear.
Ah. Lion.
Onward.
Of course, my dear. Under attack.
Oh, it's the wrong one. Ha! I was like, what the fuck? Where's my fucking damage? Alright. So we see the damage. Owie! Owie! Ah! Okay. So now we Yules it?
Yes.
Here's the fight.
Why not?
Damn. Delayed damage. So I just dodged 250 damage by Yulesing.
But of course.
Ooh, that sounds very good. That sounds pretty fucking good, boys. It's already a facet that Death Prophet wants. It's actually a facet that she wants, as opposed to slowing silenced enemies, who the fuck cares, or hero deaths empower your exorcism, whatever. This is a facet that she wants, something that makes her tankier. It's good. It's good. Good, good, good. But then the fact that you can abuse it even more with Yule Scepter, an item that she already wants, Death Prophet back, baby. 90% increased range on Crypt Swarm. Cast range is now equal to its wave range. I'm too stupid to know what that means, guys. What does that mean? Cast range is now equal to its wave range. What is wave range?
I should say so.
Wave used to go past the cast range? Does it still not?
Verily.
So they just made it...
Yes.
It definitely still goes past it. Is the AoE range not... Is the range not correct? It's definitely going past the range that it tells you. I mean... This AoE doesn't quite look like 900 to me. But sure, yes. Abilities should do what they tell you it does. Like, the fact that Crypt Swarm has done this for that long is like, and that's just some like old Warcraft 3 shit. Not good. Not good. So yes, you should be able to know how far your ability goes. I feel like that's I don't feel like that's a controversial statement, you know? I feel like the game should be telling you exactly what the spell does. So I'm glad they changed that. Good job. Good job, Valve. What this essentially means is like this is negated, right? It always went like 90 range farther than the cast range did, so this isn't really a buff. Spirit Siphon can now target Roshan and Tormentors. Okay, little buff. We'll take that. 250 health replaced with 75 silence AoE. I think this is overall a nerf. I think you would rather have the HP sooner rather than later, but what's her other talent? Oh, Crypt Swarm cooldown is a really good talent, actually. This one's very good. So, and this might actually be a buff. The fact that you could choose 400 health if you wanted to at 20. That might actually be a buff. Because I think Crypt Swarm cooldown is very good. So. Bloodstone also got nerfed, but, you know. I think Death Prophet, very happy. Very happy. She's a happy girl. Like those changes. I mean, the Siphon talent is also very good. I'm just saying, like, you know, I'm okay with sometimes making the 400 health, depending on the game. Disruptor. Kinetic Fence. I think Kinetic Fence has value, by the way. So buffing that, I think Kinetic Fence was already very interesting. So they buffed it up a little bit. Don't know how much cast range, you know, how often that'll... Do you need the fence to be that wide? Maybe, if you're angling it, like Fisher style, to block somebody off at an area, that's when it'll be most impactful. But I think Disruptor Kinetic Fence is actually kind of legit. Glimpse now deals blah 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 of the distance traveled as damage. Max damage remains 100, 160, 220, 280. Huh?
From upland Druid I ride.
Deals damage equal to a percentage of the distance glimpsed. It cannot go over the damage maximum. So is this just supposed to give you... This is just a buff to damage? So glimpse at shorter distances will give you more damage and closer to the max damage. Is it doing more or less damage than before, guys? I don't know. How was this worded before? I have to go find when they changed glimpse to do damage. Now it deals damage upon arrival based on distance traveled between start point and end point. Minimum damage is 50 at 0 units. Max damage. Okay, so now it doesn't do any damage if you do 0. Is that what it was saying? Okay. Sure. Plus 275 max damage replaced by 10% plus 10% and plus 280 glimpse distance to damage max damage. Okay. Doom new facet. Ooh, every 6.66 minutes. Fucking Valve. Duration is increased by 0.66. This is one of those things that, like, they didn't do. They there's no way they did the numbers and decided that this was the correct balance for it. They're literally just doing it based off of memes. They created this spells numbers by memes, which means it's either good, it's either too good or too bad. There's no way it's balanced. Damage per second is decreased. So they're going to meme this, and then they're going to balance it based off of damage. Okay, so every 10 minutes, it gives you 1 second on Doom. So at 50 minutes, you get 5 more seconds of Doom. And the trade-off is you do less damage on the higher levels of Doom. I feel like that's not good. I feel like this is just a meme. I'm going to say this is not good. Aren't his other facets trash? No. I don't think so. This one lets you buy a blink dagger and then kill somebody and then sell it and pick up your minus. Or buy a pipe and then sell it for better scaling items later on. This one, the stolen creep abilities can help you win the lane. Even harder than you already do when you get lightning. Lightning. Pew, 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 pew. No way you care more about 10 DPS than 5 seconds of Doom debuff? Yeah, but most of the time, an extra 5 seconds of Doom debuff, like, how often is that actually applicable? Like, a lot of times when you use Doom, you just kill somebody inside of Doom. So, anytime you would normally kill somebody inside of Doom, then this is just not good. This is just a nerf, because it's doing less damage. If you ever would have killed somebody if you would have killed somebody inside of the old Doom, then this is just a nerf, because you're just doing less damage. In the instances that, like, you wouldn't have killed that person inside of Doom. You know, those 20 to 30% of times, that's when it's actually a thing. So, yeah, I don't like it. Corrosive Dragon got nerfed. It applying armor reduction at level 1 was probably unnecessary. So good call to balance it that way. Like that. Drow Ranger, sidestep. That fucking thing. Movement speed penalty decreased by a bit. Bonus damage upped on frost arrows a bit. So she's a stronger laner with level 1 frost arrows. And they replaced 20% lifesteal with 75 attack range. I mean, attack range is really good on the hero combined with multi-shot. Enough to make the hero viable on a big map? I don't think so. Drow Ranger is like way too easy to get on top of right now. New facet, rolling ready to roll. Rolling boulder. Rolling over an allied hero. I can already tell this is a fucking meme. Grants the allied hero movement speed for 4 seconds. Earth Spirit travels further and faster and stuns enemies for longer. The distance multiplier is 2.5 seconds. So it's just saying you can use an allied hero instead of a boulder. Is that what I'm getting out of this?
I weigh and weigh. Should stand there.
Is that all I'm getting out of this?
Your middle tower is under attack.
So Remnant gives you 2 multiplier. This gives you 2.5.
Even better spot.
Your middle tower is under attack.
And then the bonus stun is the same. So it goes a little bit farther if you use an ally.
Your middle tower is under attack.
I'm not an Earth Spirit player, guys. I'm not gonna fucking even try and comment on that. I assume it's not good. Or I assume it's fine, but I assume you still want the damage talent. What if it's Remnant and thing? I kind of doubt it.
Here we go.
No, it's one or the other. It's one or the other. They don't stack.
Exactly set in stone.
I mean, it would be funny if it worked that way. It would be funny, but... damage. They buffed up rolling boulders so the damage scales a little bit. Damage per second increased. Anytime they buff Magnetize, it's always big. Magnetize by 5 damage per level. So just a little touch. Ooh, they buff Slugger, maybe? Knockback effect is now applied on any kill made by an Earthshaker ability, not just Enchant Totem. Oh, ho, ho, ho. They also gave him a passive. When Earthshaker dies, a 75 radius fissure is created where he died. This fissure blocks movement, provides vision, and allows Earthshaker to gain experience around it. What? Motherfucker, what?
Earthshaker here. Death comes so blood.
Oh, look at that. That's cute.
Aftershocks.
I can't wait to see the first time that somebody gets like body blocked, like on the bridges to go up to the side lanes. Ancients. I can't wait for the first time an Earthshaker dies there and completely blocks off that pass. That'll be great. That'll be really good. I'll enjoy that. That'll be funny. So then they had to rescale Aftershock in order to offset that. feel like I'd rather have Aftershock level 1 than this thing, but it gives experience when you die around the area, so that's interesting. I mean, now when you go in and you initiate a team fight and then you die, at least you still get the experience. And experience is important for Earthshaker, so yeah, it seems alright to me. Momentum for Elder Titan got nerfed to bits, but they gave him a passive. Allied creeps and buildings affected by the Glyph of Fortification or Roshan's banner deal 100% damage. This one's interesting. The fact that it affects Roshan's banner is kind of cool. That's a cool one. Probably similar situation where you would rather have Astral Spirit as innate ability, but I think having these innate abilities are kind of... I'm glad they are shifting away from that. So... that's cool. The Roshan's banner is particularly good because Roshan's banner, you know, using it to siege high ground, having the creeps. Second attack damage penalty increased from 40% to 50% on Sleight of Fist. Double attack. New innate ability, passive, scales with Fire Remnant. Ember Spirit deals 10, 20, 30, 40 damage per second and 175 AoE around him at all times. Can be upgraded with Aghanim Shard. Increases damage by 10, radius by 175, and grants Fire Remnants the current level of Immolation. So they just took like the passive component of Flame Guard and made it into this innate ability. Cool. Also, mana cost on Searing Chains goes up. Yeah, the hero's been a little bit the hero's throwing around spells a bit too much. They took away the free neutral item. Passive. All neutral camps deal more damage to enemy heroes. Damage is increased 10% plus 3% per Enchantress's hero level. Does not affect converted neutrals, Tormentor, or Roshan. So when I'm playing against an Enchantress, I'm going to go into the jungle and I'm going to take more damage from the neutrals because there is an Enchantress in the game. What a fucking idea. What a fucking idea. Jungle stacking versus Ench is bad. Yeah, some guy's going to go try and farm his fucking Ancient stack, and Enchantress is gonna be buffing up their damage by like 25% or some shit. It's gonna make a difference, man. It's gonna make a difference. Farming Ancient stacks is scary against Enchantress, man. Watch out. Fucking watch out, man. Enigma. Event Horizon. It now scales with Black Hole. Okay. Chronosphere. Renamed from Temporal Impunity to Chronosphere. Yeah. No longer prevents damage for a short duration after time walking. They say just having Chronosphere is good enough, lads. Just having Chronosphere is good enough. Time zone AoE increase, though. Oh, heyo. Watch out. Grimstroke. Fine Art. Stroke of Fate. Bonus damage per target increased by a total of 15. It's interesting. Still don't really see anybody use this outside of Purge, but God bless him. Gyrocopter missile damage buffed on the later levels. Okay. Whatever. Go nuts. So instead of nerfing the other facet, they buffed the underused facet from Hoodwink. Bonus cast range increased on Scurry. Bonus attack range, cast range. Okay. So they gave it an extra 50. See what they did to Acorn Shot. Acorn Shot costs more mana and does less damage. Early levels of Acorn Shot were way too powerful, particularly with the bouncing facet. So now, level 1, you're doing 30 less damage when you hit somebody with Acorn Shot with the bounce on tree thing. And at level 2, you're doing 20 less damage. Good nerf. And they also nerfed the talents, the physical damage talents. 1 less Acorn Shot bounce and 1 less corruption. New facet for Huskar. Oh boy. Cheese Hero is getting more facets. That concerns me. Spears also burn enemies for 1% of their max health per second. Cost 4% of max health instead of 4% of current health. Duration decreased from 9 seconds to 6 seconds. So every spear does 6% of their max health per second. And every spear costs you 4% of yours.
It's a sacred trust.
You will pay.
I'll give it my all. Not forgot.
You are on fire.
Yes.
My rage will bring me.
Well, it's some anti-tank shit. That's for sure.
Time is short. You're holding back, aren't you? With a will.
Boy be chunkin'. Boy be chunkin'.
With all my heart.
Doesn't look that strong to you? Yeah, I'm not super impressed by it, but no Huskar player. Jakiro did not nerf Jakiro's Art Frost facet at all. He nerfed the attack range, didn't nerf the Frost. Weird, man. There's some heroes that were like very, you know. Yeah, Jakiro is still an instant, like a guaranteed lane win most of the time. They buffed the talents or changed the talents on Juggernaut. They gave him some actual damage talents instead of healing ward talents. Alright, minimum damage increased by 4 on Kunkka. Less variance on the hero. New innate ability. Passive. Can't be leveled up. taking damage from a hero, building, or Roshan that would reduce Kunkka below 65% health automatically triggers Admiral's Rum over 10 seconds, providing 10% movement speed buff and delaying 20% of the damage taken. Delayed damage is dealt evenly over 10 seconds. Okay, so it's just stacked additively with other sources of Admiral's Rum. So you can get jumped as Kunkka and be less likely to die because Admiral's Rum is helping you tank some of that damage. And then cast Ghost Ship and get Admiral's Rum again. And it will stack additively. Radius increased on Torrent. They removed Torrent Storm and replaced it with a Aghanims for Ghost Ship. Allied heroes touched by Ghost Ship receive a stronger Admiral's Rum. Rum bonus speed 15%, damage delayed 35%, same values as 736. Now upgraded with Aghanim Scepter. Creates a fleet of 2 ships at the target point on a 2.5 second interval. Each ship also fires 3 waves of 4 cannonballs from the port and starboard side that deal 40% of Ghost Ship's damage as they pass through enemies. Each unit can only be hit by 1 cannon per volley. Okay. Time to try that one out.
Admiral Conker here. A new course. Ha! Fair enough. Ramming speed. I go.
So it does 2 boats, and they fire cannonballs.
You'll always be my chum.
I mean, the double stun just by itself. The double stun by itself is pretty nice. The cannonballs, I think, are kind of whatever.
Collision course.
Maybe they're not totally whatever, actually.
So you say. Yo-ho-ho!
So you can hit by 3 cannonballs. So if you're in an area, you're getting hit by like 4 or 5
Full
cannonballs.
sail ahead. Ramming speed.
So you're talking about double boat damage. So the Ags kind of triples the damage of Ghost Ship. Plus 100 spell AoE.
Collision course.
Interesting.
There she blows.
Maybe 5 is a little unrealistic.
As
Well,
you
let's say you're getting hit by like 2 or 3 cannonballs, right? So that's like 1 extra Ghost Ship. Maybe you get hit by both Ghost Ships. So yeah, it's like 3 times the damage. Yeah, I know it's only 1 cannonball per volley. That's why I said 2 to 4 and not 15 cannonballs. You know,
Man overboard.
if it was you could get hit by multiple cannonballs, I'd be saying 15 cannonballs worth of damage. But, you know, 6 volleys of cannonballs, you're probably getting hit by, like, you know, 2 to 4. It is
Check my
useless.
jib.
I don't know if it's useless, but I'm not sure if I would buy it. Most value to me seems like double stun. Outfight them. New innate ability for Legion Commander. Attacking an enemy hero that has a higher level than Legion Commander increases her HP regeneration, lifesteal, and incoming heals by 50% for 4 seconds. Always applies when attacking a hero that is at max level. Attacking an enemy hero that has a higher level. So if Legion Commander wants to duel the enemy carry is a higher level than Legion Commander will get a lot more lifesteal out of her shit. All right. I mean, she gets a lot of lifesteal out of Moment of Courage, so increasing that out by 50%. That feels pretty impactful, honestly. LC4, no, guys, don't overthink this stuff. Don't overthink this stuff, right? All it is, you don't change nothing about the way you play. Most of the time, when these things are there, chat, you don't change the way you play for this weird little thing, right? Most of the time, when Dota gives you these things, you play the exact same way. It's just a buff. It's just a random buff. You just got a random buff. We're not all of a sudden playing support Legion Commander because she's better at dueling heroes when they're higher level than her. All right, relax. They nerfed the lifesteal, or they rescaled it. It does more lifesteal early and less lifesteal at max level by 5%, which is good for her. It's like a better laning ability. Oh wait, no, it's 5% less on all levels. Sorry, I forgot there's a level 0 before. So they nerfed it by 5% to offset this. But they did rescale the cooldown. So the cooldown is lower on the early levels. Anything that buffs Legion Commander's laning phase is pretty impactful. So that's a buff to our laning phase. Seems good. This is a random buff that you get. Seems good. Lashrak. Misanthrope. Duration increased from 7 seconds to 6 seconds. Total damage unchanged. What's the other talent? The other one's the one everybody goes, right? And they play Lash. Lashrak's attacks restore mana. Do they take this one? Does the damage faster? I would guess they take this, right? Well, they buff that facet. Faster you do damage, the better. Nerf Split Earth by a little bit of damage. Okay. Renamed Corpse Eater to Rage. No longer gains permanent HP when killing a creep or hero. Move to the Feast innate ability. In addition, Lifestealer gains permanent max HP whenever he kills a creep. Okay. So does that make Lifestealer's other facet more viable? I mean, obviously it does. Lifestealer can cast Unfettered to dispel himself and become more resilient. Can cast while stunned. Descend into a violent fury, gaining increased status and magic resistance. Applies a dispel that can be cast while disabled. Strong dispel. So maybe we'll see people go unfettered. Is that possible? Is it possible that you ever want unfettered over Rage? Yeah, just stack some status resistance, unfettered Lifestealer. First disable comes in, you can strong dispel yourself. Then all the follow-up disables are ruined by S and Y. And Unfettered versus silences. Hmm. Well, that'll be interesting. Maybe we'll see some of that. New innate ability, Combustion. Every 150 damage Lena does to an enemy causes them to overheat, dealing 10, 20, 30, 40 damage to their allies in a 400 radius. Deals 10 damage if the target is illusion. Dealing over 150 damage can cause this effect to trigger multiple times. Huh. Okay. So Lena just fucking throws out her damage and shits on one guy, then that guy is splashing some damage over to other people over time. Try it, it's good against illusion heroes. Okay. Lion, mana drain. When the enemy has no mana remaining, the slow from mana drain is increased by an additional 15%. Great. Now Slacks has more reason to give you the suck. Lone Druid. Unbearable. Now also increases the attack distance threshold between Lone Druid and the Spirit Bear by 500. I don't remember. I wish they would just give me the full ability when something like that.
From exile I emerge.
Transforms the Spirit Bear instead of Lone Druid. Increases the distance from Lone Druid at which the Spirit Bear can attack. Oh yeah. Lone Druid morphs into Spirit Bear. Into an enraged form that does bonus armor. So he can be farther away from his bear. That's good. This is a bear facet. Him being limited by how close he is to his heroes, probably not good. So an extra 500 distance is nice. Bear necessities. New facet. Lone Druid can only use 3 slots of his inventory, but he gets 50, 60, 70, 80% bonus passive stats from them. Scales with true form. Bonuses apply to the following stats: strength, agility, intelligence, health, mana, evasion. Evasion! Getting double evasion. Attack speed and bonus damage, health and mana regen. I mean, the first thing I'd think of is butterfly.
From exile I emerge.
Oh my god, I have 3 fucking slots. The hell?
Prepare for battle.
With speed.
So I have 46% evasion with butterfly. And my attack speed not bad. Presuming treads, I guess.
Done.
Attack speed, so not movement speed, but it does apply attack speed. So treads gives you attack speed, and it gives you attack speed, and it gives you attributes. So that's got to be better than phase or any of the other boots. What's the other, what's another item that like really takes advantage of this? I mean, there's... This one gives you... You would benefit from all of these, right?
Yes. Mask of madness. It's not time yet.
So it does not seem to affect the active effect of the item, which would make sense. So this is just giving me bonus damage and not lifesteal.
Yes. Yes.
I don't know if like heart is actually valuable in this regard. I don't know if one of the 3 items you want, if you want to be taking advantage of the regen part of it. I mean, it is percentage based regen. So you're getting an 80% buff on 1.4%. I'm sure Moonshard doesn't apply. Oh, let's see how fast we can attack with Moonshard. Woohoo, look at us go. Anyway, what is it? We're at 260. This is supposed to give us 60. Yeah, just kept this at 60.
Yes.
Nothing special happened.
Time.
It doesn't do armor, otherwise I would say Assault Cuirass. Neutral slot is unaffected. Oh, I'm sure somebody will try and make this work, and it's either going to be broken or not. Moon Shield. Renamed Lunar Orbit to Moon Shield. Lunar Orbit. So now they made the Spitting Glaives a basic ability. Lunar Blessing is a passive. Grants 1 attack damage per level to Luna and allied heroes and 400 bonus night vision plus 20 per level to Luna only. Luna receives double the attack damage bonus. At night, Lunar Blessing is global. And then now she gets an ability called Lunar Orbit where she does her glaive thing. Which I think the glaive thing is cool. And it can be upgraded by Aghanim Shard, increasing collision damage by 15% and makes the glaives rotate 50% faster. I think this ability is cool, so I'm glad that they made it a part of her actual kit. I don't know if it's good, but... New facet, Alpha Wolves. Increase the max level of summoned wolves by 2, but decreases the max level of Howl and Feral Impulse by 1. Okay. So I can get level 6 summon wolves. Damage and health scale linearly for the 5th and 6th levels. Starting at level 5, wolves gain Hamstring, an attack modifier that applies a 0.5 root, and the next 4 attacks from units under LYCAN's control deal an additional 50 physical damage, cooldown 8 seconds. Starting at level 6, wolves gain Hightail. When activated, wolves get a burst of energy, gaining hasted and phased movement, 100% evasion, and 20 attack speed for 8 seconds. Wolves summoned with an Aghanim Shard are improved when leveling summon wolves past level 4. Uh-huh. Listen, I hate micro, but giving Lycan a facet that focuses on using wolves, cool idea. Cool idea. Are they going to be busted? Let's try.
Who keeps the company?
Okay,
of wolves?
so in order to get level 6 wolves, you have to be level 11.
Shift in power.
Wolf damage, obviously. I guess. Feral impulse. I feel like one value level of Hal has to be the thing. Ooh, look at these.
Ah, lone druid, a kindred spirit.
Okay, I don't have a hotkey for this, so.
As must be.
170 DPS off of summons, which goes up when they use their hamstring ability. So 190.
Now my wolves will feast.
It's interesting the hamstring stacks up.
Look to battle.
So when both the wolves attack you, you're getting 6 attacks because they attacks themselves. The first attack that it does already takes 1. So when they both attack you, you do an extra 50 damage initially. So just wham, 240 damage.
As it please you. Gather wolves.
Now let's say we level up to here.
Indeed.
Say level 15. Oh well.
Fealty to none.
That's some pretty decent damage, man. 300 DPS off of just your wolves. I feel like this should be auto cast. Don't have a thing for it. Kill a tower. That's a good idea, actually.
Call to battle.
Yeah, that's I mean, just for like free wolves on a 30-second cooldown, shard it up.
Gather wolves.
There's a bit of rat potential here for sure. Add in the fact that they get 100% evasion, so if you like, one of them's taking the
Enemy's
tower,
middle tower
and they
has fallen.
hightail, and then you switch aggro, and then the other one hightails. That's 16 seconds where you could tank the tower. That level you won't be hitting tier 1. Yes, I'm aware of that. Thank you. There's not a tier 2 to hit. But the fact that you can do this The fact that you could tank the tower for 16 seconds with these wolves sounds a little broken. And take Roshan. Yeah, you can take Roshan with them too. Yeah, that evasion seems really good. You have to be level 11 to get that ability. Some strong rat potential here. Some strong rat potential out of that one. Renamed Run Through to Reverse Polarity. Skewer no longer deals damage when skewering enemies into tree cliffs, and they baked it into the basic part of the ability. Cool. Bodyguard. Health gained from lifesteal now also heals a bodyguarded ally. Bonus armor buffed. I think Marcy's already kind of fine. Buffing bodyguard seems unnecessary. I think Marcy's legit. Mana pact facet removed. They just said, you know what? Fuck it. They could have left it in and nobody picks it. They actually thought it was so bad they straight up took it out. These other ones, they gave them a third facet. DUSA, they legitimately took that one out. That's funny. Venomous Volley. Medusa applies a poison every 5th attack, slowing enemies' movement speed by 35%, attack speed by 80%, and cast speed by 50% for 1.5 seconds. The poison attack counts as an attack modifier for the purposes of split shot. What in the fuck? What?
Of course.
Oh, oops.
I wasn't thinking.
I'm just sharpening my fangs.
Do I get a counter? Oh, okay, this is my counter.
Rush.
So when I get to level 25, I can venom everybody.
Right. Silent as a snake.
I guess we should look at the other abilities. No longer a levelable ability, so they just brought back old Mana Shield. No longer slows. Mystic Snake no longer slows movement speed or turn rates. Cooldown got nerfed. Gorgon's Grasp, new basic ability. Medusa fires a volley of arrows into the sky that lands in 3 groups in a line, with each grouping larger than the previous. Enemies struck by a grouping of arrows take 30, 70, 110, 150 physical damage and are rooted, can't turn, and take 100 physical damage per second for up to 2 seconds.
Quick as a snake. Right. Power is beauty.
Okay.
Slithering. Yes. Fight for honor.
Okay, so you can double hit them.
Run, vermin. For honor.
It is very slow.
Crawling.
It is a very slow ability. You are not wrong about that.
Yes. Not. First blood. I like to start with dessert. Sliding.
It's cool that they added a skill shot element to it where you can double hit. That part's cool. Just adds an extra 150 damage to it. Obviously, you want a setup disable. But level 6
Tremble.
does kill the range creep.
Gorgons, guide me.
Motherfucker. I mean, if you hit the melee creeps on the double hit,
Fight for honor.
probably pretty reliably getting... What does it look like with Bloodstone, by the way? Giga.
Silent as a snake.
Oh, that's some AoE right there.
Power is the only beauty.
So it's not gonna guarantee getting you the melee creeps, but it'll get you the range creep and probably get you a few of those melee creeps. Maybe not all of them, but yeah. I mean, if Rubik gets his hands on this, that's definitely some value for sure. Let's say, you know, the creeps take a little bit of damage. We got all of them. You combine this with the Mystic Snake and you're just bursting down waves.
Bring me Lana. Where is the justice in this?
742 damage. That's not bad. I'm just thinking whether or not like support DUSA could be a thing off of this. With this poison?
Slithering.
Maybe not support DUSA per se, but like something that's a little less right-clicky. Plus 1 Gorgon's Grasp Volley.
Hiss. Die a rodent's death.
Okay, something is wrong. Because it doesn't let me cast it.
I am the last thing you'll see.
With Bloodstone, it makes it all wonky, where the range is too big and it's making me cast it from the second one.
Crawling.
So,
Tremble.
so they might need to fix that.
Rush.
Even with the Ether Lens, it still forces me to cast the initial one on myself. Which I guess is what it's supposed to kind of do.
Yes. Right.
Yeah, it definitely should not be centered around... It should definitely be centered around the first one. Not the fucking third one or middle one or whatever it's centered around. I just want to see what this is like. Hey, look, now I can cast it like normal. Like you would expect the ability to be cast. I have a Seer Stone. Anyway. Interesting. Maybe we'll see DUSA in a different position. Maybe DUSA mid will be better as a result. Maybe... I don't know. We'll see. The Venomous Volley made me think whether or not this would be something interesting for a support. I don't know. The ability's a little slow. But if you're working with some sort of melee stunning 3, maybe like 4 DUSA can work off of that. Not sure. But the combination of nukes does do a decent amount of damage. So if you are a 3 or a 4, that's like my gut is saying that I want a melee stunning hero to work with this. So if I'm 3 DUSA and I have a 4 melee hero that stuns, or vice versa, maybe that's a thing. Ugh. And then you can have Aghanim Scepter. I mean, if you can make some sort of support build that allows you to be tanky, that's usually really valuable. It would also make the Shard valuable as well. But like, you max these two out, you get Aether Lens and eggs, and maybe you get some sort of like Rod of Atos Gleipnir deal at some point. And there's some interesting deal. What about Kaya?
Run, vermin.
Yeah, it doesn't really change too much. Just makes it so I cast it faster, a little bit faster. Mirana, base damage increased by 3, base strength decreased by 2, strength gain increased by 0.2. Little bit of buff for core Mirana, or support Mirana, but like core Mirana, she always has had a damage problem as a core. So giving her a little bit more damage helps. Now let's increase the duration by 3 seconds for Wukong's command. Tree Dance. Do they nerf this at all? Now goes on cooldown when taking any damage, not only from player-controlled units or Roshan. So when the range creep sees you, you're hopping around, and you get hit by the range creep hit, it puts Tree Dance on cooldown, and the jump speed is decreased by 100. That's good. Didn't nerf the other facet. Surprised by that. That facet is still too strong, fairly certain. They also nerfed Primal Spring damage in the level 1 by 30 damage. But the max damage still does the same. Ofrenda from Muerta now scales with Pierce the Whale. Now increases Muerta's attack speed by 15, 25, 35, 45 when she is within 450 range of her Ofrenda. Ofrenda is no longer destroyed or goes on an additional cooldown when Muerta respawns. Okay. So you just throw it in lane and it just gives you some 15 extra attack speed. I guess. That's like the most common use of it in this case would be like you use it in lane and it's giving you extra attack speed if you're close to it. 15. Maybe that allows you to win the. I feel like the other facet is still better, but Naga Siren Deluge now also caps enemies' movement speed 225. What does Naga's Deluge do? I know it's the one that doesn't.
Against the tide.
So now it damages enemies, reduces their status resistance, but now it also caps their movement speed to 225. They lowered it to 3 seconds duration because that would be OP to slow somebody for that long. I might be bringing back support Naga Siren. I might just bring that back. That got me to 8K the first time. Ironwood Treant. Now also increases Treant Vision. Daytime Vision increased from 500 to 1200. Now requires a single target tree to be selected to cast. Treant movement speed increased by 50. The movement speed, that's a big buff. That's a big buff. Wrath of Nature now hits all visible targets. Does not increase damage past the 16th bounce. Whoa, that's interesting. It'll hit everything you can see. And just caps the damage at 16. Aghanim Scepter min-max entangle duration decreased from 3.8 to 3. I mean, now hitting all visible targets, that was a problem with Wrath of Nature. Sometimes there would be too many targets on the thing and you wouldn't hit what you wanted to hit because there were too many units in vision of you. So now you can reliably guarantee that it's going to hit. And it's going to farm more for you. Mana Burn no longer scales with Vendetta, no longer has a damage threshold, now only triggers from Nyx's ability damage. Percentage of current mana scale rescaled though to... So it had a damage threshold before? So it could trigger off of any of Nyx's damage, but at a damage threshold. Now it just does it. So now, I mean, Scuttle is still better, for sure. But, like, I guess it's like Spike Carapace bounce back now, like, will always give you some mana burn, whereas before it didn't. If you didn't bounce back enough damage. I mean, either way, it's just like... They didn't nerf Scuttle. They're trying to buff these other ones, but they didn't nerf the OP facets. So the OP facet is still the OP facet. Sixth Sense now also reveals enemy heroes in Fog of War. What? What the fuck? They reduced the radius by 350, but now this makes Scuttle even stronger because Scuttle, you can go into like tree areas, which you normally would not see, but if somebody is on the other side of the tree, now you'll be able to see that person. Like, this just makes Scuttle better. Now, 350 is a very small range. 350 is a small range, but specifically with Scuttle, or not getting juked around trees. Like, now you can't juke this hero when you're in trees, right? He just always sees you.
I doubt not, Bodhi.
speak without voice. I have one purpose. 17.
You can't juke me.
Neeks.
You can't be juked. I'm unjukeable.
I have one purpose for being.
I see where you're going. Loser.
Neeks guides me.
Yeah, 350 is a very small range. But
Assassination is inevitable.
you take Scuttle, again, normally would not see her.
Neeks.
It can be on these tree areas, scuttling around, having free pathing,
As
and still see heroes on the other side of it.
on Agnes' legs.
Anyway,
My words into
Cool beans.
the mind, but not the ear.
just made Scuttle stronger. Boy, you guys really asked for some weird shit. Like, okay.
Yes. To my marks. Quick as a snake.
Is it doing anything?
Thoughts draw me. Gorgons, guide me. I skitter.
Doesn't do anything, guys. I'm glad you asked me to buy Bloodstone Aether Lens Nyx Assassin so we could see if we could just get a little bit more vision. That was worth it. Aghanim Shard upgrade reworked. Vendetta applies break. I did not like the fact that they took away break away from Nyx Assassin. I thought being able to have a break, again, I like the fact when heroes can counter heroes. So having unique mechanics on heroes to counter other heroes is cool. I like they gave break back to Nyx Assassin instead of the spell amp. So now that also helps nerf Nyx Assassin for a lot of games because the hero was doing too much burst damage. Shard is a small part of that. The old Shard was a small part of that. But now Nyx is very good against certain heroes. Actually works? Okay, sure, whatever, man. I don't give a shit. Who the fuck cares? I mean, I did just drop the item over and over again for you and it didn't seem like it was working. But you know, if you say it's working, that's fine. I don't give a shit, man. I really don't care. I don't care. These are useless things to know. Talent Vendetta applies break, now replaced with plus 80 agility. Yeah, I mean, this talent was just like so far away that it was not something you could draft around, you know? I couldn't pick Nyx Assassin based on the fact that I'm gonna get break at 25. Funny that they brought back the 80 agility, though. That's a funny one. Omni Knight, oh my god, who cares about Ogre Magi? Omni Knight. Radius increased on Degen Aura by 25. Now, Purification, now upgraded with Aghanim Shard. After a 3-second delay, the target is purified again with 75% effectiveness. Okay, cool. Repel now provides 60% magic resistance. Cooldown. They nerfed the cooldown to offset the buff on Repel. Aghanim Shard upgrade removed. I don't remember what the Aghanim Shard did. I don't remember what it did.
Fear not, my friends. Our guardian is here.
Oh, Aghanim Shard used to give you 60% magic resistance. Okay, cool. And now they baked it in. So big buff, potentially. Hammer of Purity has been properly converted to an attack modifier. This removes the delay between the melee attack and the pure damage application. Good, that was a dumb delay. No longer spell stealable, no longer procs magic stick. Nerf the mana cost on it. Cooldown decreased by a lot, so 4 seconds. Damage decreased, but well worth it if you can get a 4-second cooldown out of it. Bonus damage also decreased by 30%. I think that's a buff. The more often Hammer of Purity is up, I think the better it is for the hero. Particularly because you have, what, Healing Hammer, right? Guardian Angel changed from unit target ability to point target ability. Now applies Guardian Angel to all allied units in a 400 radius.
Omni Knight.
Omni Knight. Okay.
Part of us all. Flanking.
Guardian Angel was always so wonky and this like weird AoE around him, so I do think this is probably better. Much better is for support Omni Knight. No longer has 2 charges. Cast range decreased from 900 to 600. Though I did kind of like the single target. I did like single target Guardian Angel.
Great Guardian, watch your part of us all.
Single target Guardian Angel was really nice. Cooldown increase because it's no longer 2 charges and it's AoE. Mana cost. Aghanim Scepter now provides global cast range, increased radius, and allows it to target buildings. Also amplifies health regeneration and incoming heals by 100% for that duration. How big is it?
Such a holy relic. Guard us well. I am needed. Forward without fear.
Okay, so my problem with this is that if it's an AoE, if it's single target and it's global, then you can play away from your carry gets caught or wherever you can protect them. This is like Dawnbreaker, but but Omni Knight doesn't join the fight. I don't think this is like fundamentally bad. I feel like this is fundamentally not right because it implies that you are playing away from your team gets in a team fight without you, and you are able to have an impact with one ability.
Great Guardian, watch over
With your
us.
ulti, which is a very impactful ability. Don't get me wrong, it's very impactful, but like
Yes.
Dawnbreaker just like, you know, she's able to play away from her team. She uses her ultimate has an impact, and then she joins the team fight and uses the rest of her abilities.
Advancing. Guard us well.
I don't think this is good. I think it's like fundamentally bad. There are applications to it. Somebody's gonna be like, oh, what about this one situation where like somebody's ratting your base or some shit? Like, yeah, sure, but like most of the time, I'm not gonna be building Ags on Omni Knight to do this because like the gameplay is wrong for Omni Knight.
I'll take point.
This being an AoE ability and global means it's a team fight ability that I'm not there for the team fight, so therefore it's like, not great. The AoE seems to be the biggest benefit. Yeah, it kind of is, and I don't even think the AoE increase is that good, but
In the vanguard.
not a fan. Not a fan. OD. And who am I kidding? I don't care about OD. Rolling Thunder damage rescaled on Pango. They nerfed level 1 Rolling Thunder. They buffed level 3 Rolling Thunder. He can't keep getting away with it. He can't keep getting away with it, guys. How does Pango keep getting nerfed, but not really nerfed? Pango can be pretty low damage, level 1, but... Or, on level 1 Rolling Thunder, so...
A gift.
Swashbuckle cooldown reduction increased from 2.5 seconds to 3 seconds. Phantom Assassin. Blur now disjoints projectiles. Cool. Cast time decreased 0.4 seconds, 0.3 seconds. All right. Think y'all are sleeping on the 100% amp heal and regen? No, I don't think I'm sleeping on that at all. I think it's pretty whatever. Everybody always wants to everyone wants to be smart by finding the stat that is ignored and be like, this is where it's actually good, you know? Everyone wants to do that thing, but very rarely that thing is actually the thing, you know? Just think about it this way. How often, if I get cast Guardian Angel and get my spells off, how often that the 100% heal makes the difference? Or how often, 90%, let me put it this way. I'll just give you the numbers. 90% of the time, casting Guardian Angel and casting all my spells will win us the fight. 10% of the time, casting Guardian Angel with an extra 100% HP regeneration heal will win us a fight that we would have lost. You know? It's like most of the time, casting these abilities will win you the fight. If you weren't going to win the fight, you were probably going to lose the fight anyway, you know? It's very rare that this part of it is actually going to be the game changer. It's going to turn a lost fight into a one fight. Most of the time, it's turning a one fight into an even more one fight, or you're still losing the fight anyway, you know? That's my feelings on it. I could be wrong. Divergence for Phantom Lancer. Bonus illusion damage decreased from 4% to 2%. Okay. New innate ability. Items that grant bonus damage instead grant base damage for 65% of the original bonus damage amount. Oh. What the fuck? Huh? Dude, that is an interesting change right there. Because that could be really good or really bad. So we were just to get a divine rapier, right? We have shit tons of base damage.
Multiply. We agree. Daedalus, chase this. As ordered.
So this makes Daedalus quite value on the hero. The other one being Divine Rapier is obviously the other one that's quite value, but Daedalus is definitely the most value out of this. The thing is that most of the Phantom Lancer items that you buy are not bonus damage items anyway. They're stat items. Yeah, all of these. Okay, Butterfly gives plus 25 damage.
Our numbers grow.
And I think this is best with Divergence over Convergence, maybe? With Ags?
Do we have enough for all of us?
Right.
Easily.
Hiss.
There. A decoy.
But so like the thing is like, are you going to change any of your build? Are you going to change Mance? Are you going to change Diffuse? Are you going to change Heart, Butterfly? Like, no, 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 no. But with this, you could now buy Daedalus. Does the 65%? Are you losing any damage? Well, you're losing a bit of damage on Butterfly, but you're gaining that back up. It's not that much damage, so it's like that's fine. I think this is just like this just kind of gives you a late game twist where you can get Daedalus. You could buy MKB versus Evasion. That's a good point. Yeah. If you need MKB, then that item
King Ba.
maybe becomes better to buy. But I don't think it really changes that much of the hero, because so much of the hero, everything you're buying was stat based anyway. We usually want Bloodthorn. Does Bloodthorn have that much base damage? How much damage does Bloodthorn give you? 10? No. Yeah, that's whatever. So I don't think this actually changes the hero, outside of certain like late game unique scenarios. I think that assessment is right. It could be very impactful for when you hit a Daedalus timing. I'm not sure. It's very interesting when you get a Divine Rapier. That part's that part's kind of interesting, but are you ever willing to buy a Divine Rapier on Phantom Lancer? Probably not, so it's probably when you pick up a Divine Rapier. So your illusions will do more damage when you buy a Daedalus. Interesting. If you were to buy a Daedalus and you were to have a hero with Vlads, right? If you were to have a hero that is like Venge, then maybe that damage starts getting quite large. Maybe your illusions actually start doing a lot more damage because their base damage is higher, your base damage is higher. But cool concept. I mean, obviously it's a hero that his illusions are his damage, so enabling his illusions to do more damage is a cool idea. Some little tweaks here on some abilities. Buffed up level 1 Phantom Rush. Nerfed. Illusion damage decreased on Juxtapose to offset, I guess, this. And the extra damage the illusions are doing. Level 25 talent. They took away the crit and plus 15% illusory armaments damage. So they gave you even more base damage. So your illusions are getting even more base damage, and you could buy Daedalus that way. Huh. Phoenix. Oh my god, they nerfed a facet. They nerfed Dying Light by 50 radius. They nerfed the level 1 Icarus Dive. Alright. Primal Beast, Romp and Stomp. Self bonus movement speed increased by 1%. Active added bonus speed decreased by 1%. Okay. Facet reworked. Ferocity now provides 20% AoE increase for all items and abilities per hit. Buff duration 10 seconds. Each hit increases the area of effect of all abilities and items by 20% per hit. So items abilities now have 160%. So obviously the biggest one is usually Aghanim Scepter and that whole shindig.
Right.
Right.
Stay where you are.
You're pathetic.
Build your dying eyes.
Triple kill!
Oof, that's going pretty far. Jesus. That actually makes the rocks very good.
Your middle tower is under attack.
That actually makes the rocks, like, pretty decent. That's a big stun, boy. That's a big old stun. All right, time to see the Giga Rock. Fucking meteor. Ah! Holy shit. Alright, this is what it would normally look like if you hit level 25 and do that. The Giga Rock. Now you get a refresher, which I have free spells, so let's just say grabbing somebody, beating the shit out of him, grab him again. He's fucking, the hard carry just needs to fucking die. Now the fucking Ultra Rock. Holy fuck. Watch out. Look how fucking far I'm sending him. Fucking, that's what happened to the dinosaurs. Fucking primal beast happened. Get the fuck out of the way. Get out of the way. My area grows. My area grows. Stop it, Primal. Stop, you're gonna break the planet. Primal! Primal! Stop it! The planet can't take much more, Primal. Lightning. Behold, the Giga Rock. Wait, what? Eris is crying, Karis crying, screaming, shitting at you, hurting the planet. Oh, fuck. The rock broke, man. That's a good point. Meteor hammer. Behold! The Giga Hammer. All right, well, legitimately, this is kind of interesting. Just having the AoE off of Pulverize itself, increasing its own AoE every slam. So it's getting bigger and bigger. You could see it go here, here, here. Kind of good. And then his abilities afterwards, getting that bonus. I can't even like get on top of them. I can't even get on top of them. I just shoot them forward so far. Yeah. I mean, it could legitimately be good. I think Romp and Stomp is just more damage off of Trampled, typically, but it's worth considering this now. What, I don't even remember what it was before, is the problem. A lot of these I just don't remember what it was before. When activated, each stack provides 10% AoE bonus.
Your middle tower is under attack.
And that was on Uproar. I see. So now it's on Pulverize. So it feels like it's an easier thing to use, but you don't get as much out of it. But it does affect items. What items and primal beast you build that AoE is helpful? Just Shiva's? But like Shiva's AoE is already like usually big enough. So like maybe there's a percentage of the time where that AoE is better. But yeah, I mean now it's 60% instead of 50%. It's easier to use as a result. Right, it used to give you 50% if you had maxed Uproar stacks. Now it gives you 60% just by using Pulverize. So it's a much easier fucking facet to use. Like you're always going to be able to Pulverize. The Pulverize is affecting itself, whereas before you're jumping in, you know, you're if I'm going to Onslaught in, let's say Onslaught in, I grab, right? Then I'm getting the benefit of Pulverize getting bigger and then Trample afterwards, and then also Uproar if I have Axe. Whereas oftentimes Uproar was one of your last abilities that you used. So you didn't really get benefit out of the AoE. So some benefit is better than no benefit. Seems good. Definitely worth testing. Now it shows a preview of the orb trajectory on Curveball. Okay. People probably still ain't taking that though. Ugh. Rewards of Ruin now also gain spell amplification per destroyed allied towers. They lowered the spell amp, but now you could get even more spell amp as the game goes on if your own towers die. So before, if you took every single tower that is outside the base, we're not going to count tier 4s, right? Let's just say you took 6 towers. Let's just say you took all the tier 1s and tier 2s, right? You're getting 9% spell amp. Now, let's say you lose some of your towers, but also some of their towers. So let's say 10 towers. Now you're getting 12%. Right? You lose all your outer tier 1 towers and, 2 of the tier 2s. You do the same to them. 10 towers, 12.5%. So this is just, better most of the time. If you don't lose any towers, then you're already winning the game, so who the fuck cares? They also buffed the other one. Damage to mana / health increase from 25% to 30%. Cool. I feel like this is still the better one. They both got if they both got buffed, it's probably still the better one. He took away his 200 health talent. Mamma mia. A Primal Beast randomly slam on the ground. He took away 200 health talent. They gave him a 350 health talent at 15. Interesting. What's up, Element? Thanks for resub. No, it's allied and enemy towers. Return damage increase from 10% to 15%. I'm sure at some point Quap is going to be some sort of bondage queen where she's actually good. It's like Dagon, Especially now that Dagon scales. Dagon spell amp scales, or spell lifesteal scales. Nerf the mana cost on Shadow Strike. 20 damage replaced with 35 attack speed against Shadow Strike units. Weird. I didn't even know that was a talent. So they gave her more damage on 15. So 20 damage and 40 attack speed versus 35 attack speed and 30 damage. Okay. I mean, that's a buff, I guess, if you take those talents. If you take those talents. I don't think you take those talents, but if you do. Thunderhead now also lowers strike cooldown by 2.5 seconds during Eye of the Storm. I thought maybe this facet had some value to it. I did not think this facet was totally garbage. Lightning strikes more often and hits all units within Eye of the Storm's area effect when it is active. Eye of the Storm strike chance is twice as high. Strike cooldown is reduced by 2.5 seconds. So it can strike every 0.5 seconds now. I think that might be legit. And lightning strikes all enemies within Eye of the Storm's radius. I mean, Eye of the Storm, like, when you activate Eye of the Storm, you're already kind of like this Giga Boss that people need to kill quickly. So having Storm Surge going off and it doing damage to everybody and slowing everybody. I feel like that's kind of legit, man. I don't know. I think it should be in consideration. I think you should consider this. This is a big nerf, or this is a big buff, rather. Lowering the cooldown to 0.5 seconds. It's pretty big. It's pretty big. The strike chance is twice as high, 36%. Riki. Tricks of the trade. Agility bonus when attacking non-hero units increased from 4x to 4.5x. Snooze. I'm literally falling asleep reading that. Rubik. Might and Magus. Bonus attack damage per spell amplification decreased from 1% to 0.75%. The Thompson effect is real, man. The Thompson effect. Oof. What's with chat's Bloodstone finish? You know. Oh dear. The Thompson effect. Spell amp decreased on early levels of Arcane Supremacy. Okay, so it's less value level 1. Cool. Dust Devil. Area of effect. So they're rebuffing this spell that they nerfed into the ground. This facet, rather. So they're rebuffing it. So it has a bigger AoE because the other facet has a huge AoE and this one just does not compare. Caustic Finale. Max health damage rescaled. So it does less damage early on, which Sand King currently has like a early game problem, I think, where maxed out Stinger and Phase Boots and like Caustic Finale and all these sort of things are doing too much damage. So we'll see if they fix that. Duration rescaled from 6 seconds. Okay. Duration on Caustic Finales, whatever. Aghanim Scepter upgrade removed. Okay. Stinger now gives magic stick charges, which is good. The mana cost is now increased. That's good. Increase the cooldown as well. That's good. Bonus damage is now extra physical damage instead of bonus attack damage. Okay. Bonus attack damage decreased. Wow, they nerfed it a lot. Holy crap. I did not expect 4 different kinds of nerfs to it. Holy cow. New Aghanim Scepter. Now upgraded with Aghanim Scepter. Every 0.5 seconds, 3 Stinger attack areas. Okay, this is why they nerfed it so much. 3 Stinger attack areas are created at random locations, each measuring 15% of the epicenter's current radius. That apply 50% of Stinger's damage to enemies hit. One enemy can only be hit by 1 Stinger per pulse. While having both items, Aghanim Shard pulses apply 1 Stinger attack from Aghanim Scepter. Alright. Some wild shit going on here. Okay. So, first of all, I shouldn't have bought that, actually, now that I'm thinking about it. Okay. So, we're just living our life. We're occasionally getting an epicenter hit. Then we get Aghanim Scepter. So now, you're getting this random stinger hit that may or may not hit the unit, like it did there. Which is a huge increase of damage if this random RNG just happens to hit the unit.
Rightly so.
Like it does there. It's a lot more damage if it hits.
Sand King cometh.
Then when I epicenter, random stinger hits come out. There's way too much RNG to this. There's way too much RNG to this. Like, that could be a lot of damage. If you get hit by multiple fucking stingers, that's gonna really add up. But you just as easily could get hit by no stingers. It's like CM ult, but CM ult rotates around and has an even distribution. This is just like total RNG. Uh, 8% stinger slow, 50% stinger damage replaced with burrow strike cast range, 12% stinger slow replaced with sandstorm. So I no longer have a stinger damage talent. So that's another nerf they put to stinger. Well, they changed it so they specifically changed it so it's not added bonus attack damage. It's extra physical damage. So you can't do too much weird shit with it. Doesn't apply inner radius bonus stinger damage, just the regular stinger damage. Which I feel like the inner bonus stinger damage is also kind of weird. I'm not sure if that should be a thing. I feel like they should just flatten out the damage. Just played against Octarine. Venom. It was impossible to go high ground against him. Shadow Demon. Promulgate. Current health lost increased from 15% to 20%. That sounds like a lot of damage. Shadow Fiend. Lasting Presence. Now also improves Necromastery. Every hero kill increases max souls by 1 until Shadow Fiend dies. Hero kills no longer increase max souls by 1 by default. It's only in Lasting Presence that you get that. Shadow Ray's duration decreased by a second. Mana cost increased by 1. Yeah, Shadow Rays lasts way too long. Reckoning of Souls. Max line width decreased by 50. Fear duration per soul decreased by 0.1. So Requiem is just a little bit less when it's all stacked up. Fear line also decreased. So max fear duration decreased from 0.95 seconds to 0.45 seconds. Yeah. I mean, chaining this AoE fear was like a little bit too powerful. It's interesting that they gave the increased souls to the right-click SF. The Giga Ward. The Giga Serpent. His health has been increased. Wow. One step closer to viability. Aghanim Shard Serpent Ward Linger duration increased from 1.5 to 2.5 seconds. That's really good for him. It helps you clear waves a little bit faster. Or clears the wave better with Shackle Ward summoning. And also a little bit more damage in fights and stuff. Hex Breaks is now a 15 talent instead of a 20 talent. Again, I like it when heroes can counter heroes. Level 15 is not something that you could draft for, but maybe it's something that you can kind of plan for. So, I like it. I like Break being more accessible early. Brain Drain for Silencer. Permanent intelligence steal decreased from 2 to 1. Aghanim Shard decreases it from 4 to 3. Now also steals intelligent if the dying unit was debuffed by Silencer, even if he was out of range. So now I like this because Silencer way too often has a problem where he puts a debuff on somebody and they end up getting out of range, or Silencer ends up dying or whatever. So now it's easier to steal intelligence from people. That's good. Mana cost on Glaives of Wisdom is lowered for early levels. Damage per silence increased on Last Word by 10. What the fuck does Last Word do again? I don't remember what they did to him. What did they do to you? Enemies within 1200 range of Silencer are slowed and damaged every second for each silence they have on them. Okay. So the more silences you have, the slower you are, the more damage you're taking. So you can get the Glaives of Wisdom silence, and you can do global silence, and you can do an orchid and throw it all together for stacking silence, I guess. Damage every second for each silence they have on them. Weird. I forgot they did that. Like, stacking silence is like such a dumb thing. Why would you want that? Why would you want that? Makes no sense. It's like fundamentally like not what you want. It's not what you want. Whatever. All right, well, they're trying to make that more viable. I hope it works out for them. It actually combos really well with Earth Spirit, Ult, and Grip. I'm sure it does. I'm sure if you draft a team of fucking all heroes that silence, I bet that silencer is fucking popping off, boy. I bet that is sick as fuck. Not having any stuns, but having 5 silences that you all stack onto one hero to increase the last word damage. That sounds sick, boy. It's just like fundamentally, like, why would you want that? Even if it could work, like, it's not, you shouldn't be incentivizing it. You should not be incentivizing stacking of all, like, stacking silences. Don't incentivize bad play. You know? You're supposed to incentivize people not to stack their disables. And also not to stack, like, just having multiple silences is just, like, weirdly unnecessary. Guys, let's put 6 silences on this person so when Dispel gets rid of all of them. You know? What? Fucking, just like fundamentally, this is bad and I don't like it. I feel like that's just a bad concept. So I'm just gonna ignore Silencer until they change him again, which they will change him again. Barrier duration decreased. Apparently Skywrath needed to be nerfed. Didn't know that. Okay. Slardar. Aghanim Scepter puddle duration decreased by 3 seconds. The radius decreased by 50. The radius is one thing. Fucking duration is probably, who cares? Small number changes. Small number changes. Don't particularly care. Snapfire, they buffed the cookie damage. Decreased the little shredder attack by 1. Ooh, that... Snapfire's not going to be happy with... Core Snapfire is not going to be happy with that. That is... Losing a little shredder attack is... Oof. Oof, and they got him again! They decreased it again on the 15 talent too. Oh my god. 2 less little shredder attacks. Yikes. And they nerfed the level 25 talent, which is still probably a broken talent if you get to that point. The bigger impact is definitely losing 2 attacks. But Valve didn't like Core Snapfire, huh? Alright then. You don't have to like it. Let's see, Snapfire got more attack range. Good for him. And Shrapnel does a bit more damage. Didn't change nerfed Shrapnel, eh? They didn't want to rename Scattershot to Nerf Shrapnel. They didn't think that was a good idea. They renamed other facets. Why didn't they rename Scattershot to Nerf Shrapnel? Regular Shrapnel and Nerf Shrapnel. Why? I'm confused. Just label them appropriately. Also, so Shrapnel got 5 more damage. Did that affect Scattershot? Did he get 20 more damage? I don't know what its damage was before. You did. Well, at least now this might kill a range creep or something. I don't know. Dude, that fucking facet's so bad, man. It's good for level 1 bounty rune fights, and then it's worse everywhere else. Oh, but the level 20 talent gives you could get 30% shrapnel damage. Mana cost nerf on Spectral Dagger, Dispersion. It reflects a little bit more damage on level 1, so Dispersion level 1 is a little bit more value. And your HP regen talent at 10 got a little bit of buff. Cool. Maybe Spectre's a little bit, tiny bit more viable because his laning phase is better. That hero's laning phase is usually pretty dog shit. Bull Rush. Lingering bonus movement speed is now determined by Spirit Breaker's current bonus speed instead of always the max. All right, so now this Bull Rush thing scales a little bit more. Charge of Darkness now gradually ramps up to max movement speed, starting at 25% of the bonus speed. So now Spirit Breaker can't just like do point blank charges and stuff and like get away with some bullshit. That's good. Storm Spirit, Shot Caller, Electric Vortex. Debuff now grants the next attack of the enemy is redirected onto themselves and triggers the overload charge. So you can make the enemy attack themselves with Storm Spirit.
I am Storm Spirit.
Electric Vortex applies a debuff to the enemy that lasts for 5 seconds, making their next attack target themselves and trigger an overload charge. It's interesting. Link me the 7TV emote that you want added. Give me the link. Oh, you can also increase the overload damage, which makes the Shot Caller better as well. I don't know. I mean, it could. It's possible. I don't think necessarily the other facet is like so overwhelmingly strong that you can't consider this. Sven. Nerf Sven. Bonus armor on Warcry. Decreased at max level by 3 armor. Aghanim Shard no longer passively grant allies movement speed bonus. Aghanim Shard now increases active movement speed by an additional 3%. That's fair. That's fair. Is 3 armor enough to make Warcry not in a first pick? Probably not. Probably not. I think Sven's still good. I think Sven's support is still good. Free armor is not that big of a deal. I mean, considering the fact it gives you 12 armor and this barrier and stuff like that, and seems fine to me. They also nerf the 20 talent, which is good. The barrier is really good. Squeeze Scope. Each point of attack speed now also grants 1 attack projectile speed. Thank God. So now your attacks can hit them faster. Whew. Templar Assassin Void Blades. Facet reworked. Meld. Attacking a target with Meld also applies the bonus damage and debuff to enemies hit by the Psyblade spill. Come again? What did you just say to me? Attacking a target with Meld also applies the damage and debuffs to enemies hit by the Psyblades. Okay, so it's... So now you could just Psyblade hit Meld? You could just AoE Meld hit? I don't know. Maybe they'll start using this to like one-shot creep waves. Maybe TAs will do that as a farming tool. Like you could clear through ancient stacks a lot faster if you meld strike all of them, I guess. I'm sure somebody's gonna test it and we're gonna find out that like this drastically increases Templar Assassin's farming speed or something, and it'll become a meta thing, but I'm not a carry player. I'll leave that to a carry player to figure out. Templar Assassin and her teammates can see Roshan's respawn timer. Third eye. So Oracle can see where the runes are going to be. Templar Assassin can see where Roshan's going to be. Okay. Cool. Armor reduction duration decreased from 12 seconds to 6 seconds. That's good. I think Meld was too good for taking Roche. Do the double Meld strike and stuff. 6 seconds is still enough to do Roshan for TA, but bonus damage and reductions are now applied when denying allies or traps. Traps no longer provide vision inside a Roshan pit. Why would you need that? Because now you can see when Roshan spawns. I see their logic here. I see the logic. Traps now always take 2 hits to kill by ranged attackers, 1 by melee, 4 by creeps. Okay. Meta attack range buff by 30. Wow. Ravage cooldown decreased by 5 as it's leveled up. Wow. Shredder. Splinter slow duration increased from 0.75 to 1 second. I mean, people were already going this on off-lane Timber Saw. So they buffed it. And they buffed mana per tree destroyed increase by 1 per level. They just buffed off-lane Timber Saw. I mean, he's not an S-tier off-laner, but I would say he's an A-tier off-laner. Okay. Repair bots, they really want to make this healing tinker a thing. 15 heal per bot? Just fucking kill Tinker already. Just fucking kill him. Kill him. Nobody wants this fucking hero in the game. Kill him. Warp Flare now always teleports the target enemy to the ability's current cast range plus 100 from Tinker's position when he threw the flare. Will not teleport units that are over 2,000 range from the desired position. Will now pull units back towards Tinker if they are moving away from him while the projectile is mid-air. This hero's so fucking complicated. Crash Landing. The most OP facet in the game. Let's see if they nerfed it enough. Radius decreased by 50. Bonus landing decreased by 5%. Damage no longer pierces magic resistance granted by debuff immunity. Very important. Very important. Toss damage decreased from grow by 50 on level 1, by 100 at level 3. So 5% less damage, 50% less AoE, 50%, 50, 75, 100 less damage when you get grow. And it no longer has this weird bug where it was piercing magic resistance when you had debuff immunity. Is that enough? My gut says it's probably not enough because of Conda. But it's, I mean, it's like, I think Tiny is still viable and will, excuse me, is still strong. So. My bet is it's still strong. Dream Protector. Nature's Guise. Aghanim Shard. Total damage changed from 200 to 100 plus 75% of Treant's base attack damage, which incentivizes you to go to the facet that gives you more damage per level. I see what you're doing, Valve. I see what you're doing. New innate ability allows Troll Warlord to swap between melee attacks with a point. Okay. So they just made Berserker's Rage. It just separated the fucking toggling, whatever. They also nerfed range axe damage, which with the axe builds that does make a difference. 20 less damage. Especially with the axe when he's throwing it around so much. They also nerfed the Aghanim Shard on Fervor by 2% and 1%. Tusk. Drinking Buddies can now be put on alt cast to only pull Tusk toward his target ally. That's good. Still don't like Drinking Buddies, but making it so you don't force move your ally when you don't want to is probably good. New passive for Underlord. After an allied hero teleports, they temporarily gain damage reduction and movement speed. Bonuses are doubled when teleporting via Fiend's Gate. Damage reduction 4, 6, 8, 10%. Bonus movement speed 5, 10, 15, 20%. Buff duration 5 seconds. That's pretty good, man. Like, allies TP into fights all the time. So if I just get to show up with a movement speed and a damage reduction buff. Oh, all right. That's okay, cool. Sounds sick. You know what was funny about that is that they did the teleport thing, and they had Chen's shit is being a teleport, which Chen Underlord is already kind of cancerous right now in the Death Ball strat. So does that mean Chen's creeps will also just get random damage and movement speed? No, an allied hero teleports. After an allied hero teleports, okay. Anyway, I mean, that's a nice buff to Underlord for sure. They replaced the 10% Fiend's Gate with a 5% invading force. But, you know, it's still kind of free. 15% damage reduction on TPing into a tower. Sounds legit. Underlord seems good to me. Undying. What is Ceaseless Dirge? This hero's not meta enough for me to know what his new shit is. When Undying dies, he will instantly... Oh, that thing. Cannot be refreshed, eh? Fair enough. Cooldown rescaled on Tombstone to 80 seconds at every level. The slow decrease from Flesh Golem from 40 to 50%, now to 35 to 45%. Felt like they needed to nerf Undying, huh? Haven't seen that hero. Don't know him. Bear Down now scales with Enrage. Probably good. Oh, Venomancer. Venomancer, guys. It's Venomancer. They changed something about Plague Carrier. Oh, fuck. When attached to a carrier, ward health is now also increased by 2.5% of the carrier's max health. Oh, shit. And he has a new ability, innate ability. Venomancer's attacks deal extra magical damage based on how many debuffs the target has. Okay, so they're giving him his Aghanim Scepter, his old Aghanim Scepter. We were testing the Aghanim Scepter, and it gets really interesting. It gets really interesting. So the fact that they're now giving him to free, obviously being heavily nerfed, but like the fact that they're giving it to him for free is gonna be legit. Only counts debuffs from Venomancer and his Plague Wards. Base damage per debuff 10%. Can be upgraded with Aghanim Scepter. Increases septic shock damage, base damage per debuff from 10 to 20%. Plague Wards also deal septic shock damage based on their attack damage. This Ags is legit. I bet this Ags is legit. If you do some sort of like 3 Veno or something like that, and you end up, you know, scaling, you know, you get a 4th or 5th item, Aghanim Scepter, not out of the question. Not out of the question. We've tested it, and you can put a lot of debuffs. You can put a lot of debuffs. There are a lot of items that allow you to debuff enemies, right? Veil, Shivas, all this kind of shit, right? So you can add up a lot of debuffs from Venomancer, because it doesn't apply to other heroes, but like you yourself can put a lot of debuffs on somebody. And the fact that it applies to Plague Wards with this Plague Carrier thing, and those Plague Carriers, those wards are made tankier now by your health, or the carrier's health, but, you know, in this case, we're saying we're putting on ourselves, right? We have an Aghanim Scepter, we're buffing up our own HP. You get the level 25 talent with an Aghanim Scepter. I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you. It's going to be lit. It's going to be lit. It's litty out here. Venom is definitely sad that he doesn't start with Poison Sting, but, you know. It's fine. Mana cost increased on Plague Wards, though. 3 more mana cost on level 1 wards. That'll add up. You spam that ability a lot. When you play offlane Venomancer and you're cutting waves, you spam that ability a lot. Viper passive. Viper's attacks deal an additional instance of physical damage per missing health percentage on his target. Okay, so this is his old nether toxin or whatever, where the less health they had, the more damage they took. So they're giving that to him. Cool beans. And then they changed Corrosive Skin from a level 0 ability back to a normal ability. Visage, new facet, Death Toll. Soul Assumption kills give 35 gold per soul charge, up to 210 gold and max Soul Assumption. 15% gold from creeps. Enemy heroes killed within 3 seconds of being affected by a Soul Assumption also give gold. They're doing some bounty hunter Soul Assumption Visage, huh? Interesting. Visage's ability cooldown durations are reduced as long as he's not taking damage. Grants a stack every 2 seconds that Visage does not take damage. Each stack grants 2% cooldown speed with the max of 10 stacks. Stacks fade after 2 seconds upon taking any damage. Okay, so they give him some weird Soul Assumption farming mechanic, and then they give him a cooldown speed thing for not taking any damage. Are they just trying to incentivize bad play? You're just telling people, hey, go out there and just farm with Soul Assumption and don't fight at all. That's a terrible idea. Like, maybe the numbers are too high and it's actually good and it's actually legit. But like, fundamentally, you're telling people to do the wrong thing on Visage. You shouldn't be spamming this expensive ass spell on creeps. And you shouldn't be not taking any damage as Visage. This is a hero that, like, you don't want to be AFK farming with it. Come on, guys. Come on, man. Don't be telling people to do the wrong shit. Because pubs are gonna have people that are gonna try this. It's not gonna work. Anyway, I don't know. This kind of seems like ass. Gravekeeper's Cloak, no longer an innate ability. Blah blah blah. Silence the Grave got nerfed. Okay. Void Spirit, Symmetry Facet removed, replaced with Call of the Void. Dissimulate. Upon exiting Dissimulate, Aether Remnants are created at the 3 portals furthest from Void Spirit that last 4 seconds. No effect if reassembling from the center portal. Remnants face toward the center portal and have reduced pull duration and damage. 60%. Aether Remnant watch distance endpoint is always fixed, meaning that increased watch distance will spawn the remnants farther away from the center portal. Listen, I know exactly what that means, and I can totally visualize it in my head, but I will show it in here for you guys who obviously need the help. I assume I have to level up my... Okay, so nothing happens when I don't have Aether Remnant. Just wanted to make sure.
No longer hidden. Void step.
Okay, so that is kind of what I imagined it would look like.
With purpose.
So then when you get the shard...
Ether step. I create opportunity.
So it's basically saying it's still going to be centered around the same spot. They just spawn farther back when you get the shard.
Manual relocation.
That's definitely interesting. Like,
Out of step.
it's some sort of weird like AoE team fight.
Do I choose?
I mean, obviously the best situations are like you dissimulate, you're going away from the enemy, they're gonna chase you, then it grabs some of them and pulls them back.
The void path proceeds. My preferred
But-
pathway.
I wonder how many times you're gonna use this
Ether step.
instead of trying to get into the enemy and trying to dissimulate into them.
Do
If you were to
think
use
that
this
my
to
welcome respite
the enemies over here,
Your middle tower is
and I'm
under
trying to
attack.
hit them with these Aether Remnants,
in preparation. Out of step.
so I back away from the team fight. That seems, again, like antithetical to what Void Spirit wants to do
Novel.
in that situation, but maybe it's good enough. Obviously, it's great synergy when you're just like dissimulating away from the enemy and they're trying to chase after you and it grabs them and they can't chase you. Like, okay.
I must be attentive.
But if I have to go away from the enemy and then ult back into them,
Move beyond the boundaries.
is that the play? Do that and then I ult back in and then I combo it. It could be kind of cool looking, where he's kind of like going in and out, back and forth.
Call it a premonition.
When you do in the middle, it doesn't do anything. It could be kind of interesting. Resonant Pulse now grants a physical damage barrier. Okay. Buff Shadow Word. Cool. Weaver. Each time Weaver casts an ability, it gains 50 attack range for 7 seconds. This effect stacks independently. Well, that's pretty funny when he gets like level 25 perma Shikuchi. But I guess a little bit of extra passive damage or passive attack range. You Shikuchi bugs, you get an extra attack range. 100 attack range. Cool.
Your middle tower
Definitely a
is under
nerf not being
attack.
able to start out with Geminate attack, but
Your middle tower is under attack.
rename Tailwind to Focus Fire. No longer grants additional bonus movement speed to Wind Ranger and nearby allies. Yeah, that ability didn't need the extra thing. Focus Fire was good enough as is. Whether or not Whirlwind is ever good enough, though, gotta buff that. Duration increased by a second, and AoE now equals Wind Ranger's attack range plus 150. I do love Watch Streak. Thank you. You know, at some point in time, they will buff Whirlwind to a point where it becomes good. I don't think this is it. I don't think this is it, but there is a world where that exists. There is a world where it exists. Oh, Voodoo Festoration is back on the menu. They said, okay, we over-nerfed this, our bad guys. Now, you can get it to almost 50% when you max it out. It gets up to 40% now. I still think the Bouncing Cask one, the escalating damage, it farms pretty well for Witch Doctor. It's pretty interesting. But, maybe this puts Voodoo Festoration back on the map. Base damage increased on Maledict. Okay. Wraith King. Vampiric Spirits, Lifesteal got buffed a little bit on early levels. Now decreases respawn timer by Wraith duration. Huh? What? What does Wraith King do again? Grants Wraith King lifesteal. When slain, Wraith King turns into a free pathing Wraith, right? Yeah, it's his Wraith form. Oh, the Wraith form, like while he is a Wraith, that period is taken away from his respawn time. I understand. That's fair enough. Aghanim Scepter no longer reduces respawn time. Okay. Think they'll remove facets? Well, they already removed a couple. So yeah, for sure. All right, that was 737. All around, big fan of them clarifying rules and mechanics. Big fan of that. Nerf the auras a little bit. Nerf the tank items a little bit. Like that. Like some of the new facets. Abaddon was an interesting winner. Animage, maybe. This Bristleback facet as a carry could be an interesting winner. Who else was a big dub? Death Prophet, big dub. Big dub. Probably the biggest dub. Hero with the biggest dub, Death Prophet. That's the winner. I think that facet is very good. Jakiro didn't get nerfed. Question mark. Lone Droid, who the fuck knows? Alpha Wolves, this one I think is legit. Another big dub. LYCAN big dub. DUSA question mark. But a big dub for if you want to play DUSA not as a carry. Where it'll end up is questionable and if it's any good. But if you've always wanted to play Medusa and not a carry role, this is a big dub for you. Big dub for people who accidentally clicked Mana Pact. True. Big dub for people who choose bad facets. Can't choose a bad facet now. Got removed. Same thing for if you want to play support Naga Siren. Try that out. Didn't like the Omni Ags. Big L. Big L. Razor Thunderhead. Could be interesting. Aghanim Scepter on Sand King. Totally fucking random stinger attacks. Big dub if you like RNG. Same goes with that Chaos Knight facet that you're never gonna take. If you really just are a fucking gambler, you just fucking love rolling the dice, baby. Big dub for RNG. The Giga Serpent. Big dub for memes. You know, eventually memes like stacking silences. Eventually numbers become too high and it becomes broken. Is this the patch for memes? Do the memes become reality? Are your memes no longer dreams? And are they broken? Could be. Could be. I hope not. I sure hope not. Little decent dub for offlane Timbersaw. A little L for Tiny. Probably still strong, but maybe not broken. Little dub for Underlord. Big dub for Venomancer, I think. Big dub for Veno. Veno Core coming to a pub near you. Big L for people who think they're gonna farm with Visage using Soul Assumption. Weird. Weird guy. That's it. That's my recap. That's my recap of 737. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Goodbye.